Greetings, everyone. This evening we embark on a journey into the fascinating and mind-bending realm of ancient Egyptian recreational chemistry, a civilization renowned for its majestic pyramids, enigmatic mummies, and, intriguingly, festivals that could easily compete with the wildest escapades of your college roommate. Before you settle in, I invite you to take a moment to show your appreciation for the video and subscribe, but only if my work resonates with you. I'd love to hear from you in the comments about where you're joining us from and what time. It is in your corner of the world. It's truly captivating to witness the diverse souls gathering from every corner of the globe. Now, let us lower the lights, perhaps activate a fan to create a gentle background hum, and together we shall embark on tonight's adventure. Once upon a time in the land of ancient Egypt, there existed a remarkable botanical marvel known as the blue lotus flower, celebrated for its enchanting allure. In the vibrant scenes of tomb paintings, you might have noticed its graceful petals, often inhaled by pharaohs or delicately waved at feasts, reminiscent of a bygone celebration. Yet, this flower held significance beyond mere decoration. The Egyptians held a deep reverence for it, believing it possessed sacred qualities and gentle mind-altering effects. Indeed, the blue lotus has a way of lifting you into a gentle, dreamy state. It was a straightforward approach. Gather the dried petals and immerse them in wine for a time, perhaps days, then savor the infusion during festivals, ceremonies, or whenever you wish to escape the chorus of 200 voices raised in him at full volume. The outcome was a gentle, whimsical bliss, just shy of erasing your identity, yet sufficient to transform pyramid construction into an enjoyable, collective endeavor. Now, to clarify, the Egyptians didn't refer to it as getting high. They referred to it as a sacred dialogue with the divine. The blue lotus, a symbol of rebirth, and the sun god Ra, held a significant place in rituals and funerary rites, embodying the essence of transformation and divine connection. Bringing the flower close, one could savor the essence of the divine, a fragrant whisper of something greater, and perhaps a splendid means to unwind after a long day of overseeing the Nile Valley. It permeated the very essence of art. In the grand tapestry of ancient times, rulers are depicted grasping it with reverence, revelers at feasts exchanging it like a symbol of harmony, and even the mummified remain adorned with it for their journey. Beyond, the notion appeared to be, if we are journeying towards forever, let's ensure we are well prepared. Down to earth, yet. The blue lotus held significance beyond mere ceremony. Festivals had a way of unleashing chaos, and with blue lotus infused, wine in hand, the music soared. The dancing became freer, and the hieroglyphic poetry took on a depth that felt almost transcendent. Picture a gathering beneath the twinkling stars, where the sweet taste of lotus wine dances on the lips, and the air is filled with a sense of weightlessness, like a delicate papyrus reed swaying gently in the evening breeze. For the ancient Egyptians, that was a journey into spiritual fulfillment. A night woven with the threads of the divine. There are sacred celebrations. And then there's the revelry of inebriation, the age-old Egyptian way of proclaiming, let's lose ourselves. In merriment to celebrate survival? Discreet title? Absolutely not. Is it true? Incredibly, in this yearly festivity, the focus was on the goddess Hathor, a figure of legend who, as the tales go, was once dispatched to deliver retribution upon humankind. Yet, following a harrowing rampage that could put any catastrophe film to shame, the deities concluded that perhaps humanity had grasped its lesson. Thus, they cunningly led her to sip a crimson brew that resembled blood. She slipped into unconsciousness, only to awaken with a newfound lightness in her spirit, and in that moment, a catastrophe was averted. All thanks to the peculiar twist. A fate that was alcohol poisoning in a grand celebration of legendary excess. The Egyptians would unite annually to indulge in a revelry that left them delightfully inebriated, neither in metaphor nor in spirit. Truly, the aim was to drink until one slipped into a transcendent state. A notion that seems lyrical until you recall it frequently resulted in tumbling face-first into a mud-brick courtyard, circled by unfamiliar voices shouting accolades amidst their own hiccups. As the first light of dawn broke, the air was filled with the vibrant sounds of music and clapping, marking the start of the ritual where drinks were ceremoniously passed among the participants. With a mischievous glint in their eyes, the priests beckoned the revelers to indulge and drink to their heart's content, transforming what should have been a sacred blessing into a playful challenge. With tambourines clashing and feet moving too, the participants filled the streets with joyous abandon. Whispers of the goddess floated through the air, though it remains a mystery whether it was truly Hathor or merely the glint of a clay jug that caught their eye. Yet this was not merely disorder for the sake of disorder. But not quite. Vision was to celebrate the delicate dance between chaos and delight, a reminder that even the most tempestuous gods could be soothed with a potent concoction. Imagine a fusion of sacred beliefs and spirited revelry, where this was not just accepted but officially endorsed. The following day unfolded without any clumsy exchanges regarding the events that transpired in the sacred grove. Indulging in spirits was woven into the fabric of the role. In fact, the very act of staying conscious felt like a curious anomaly. What holds you back from reaching spiritual heights, Kunam Hodop? Do you harbor disdain for the deities? Contemporary thinkers have portrayed the celebration of inebriation as a rite of rejuvenation in a gathering blessed by the heavens. Attendees cast aside their fears and inhibitions, perhaps even their stomach contents, in a celebration of liberation. What unfolds on the morrow? Whispers of discomfort linger in the mind. Once upon a time, there was a feeling that lingered in the shadows, a whisper of what could have been. It danced through the corridors of memory, leaving traces of longing, and reflection in its wake, perhaps a fresh mark, reminiscent of Anubis. Yet it also involves a journey of spiritual renewal. Cast aside all your preconceptions about beer. In the days of ancient Egypt, the beer was far from the golden bubbly concoctions we might envision today, nor did it bear any resemblance to the drinks one might casually order at a bar. It was a dense concoction, reminiscent of porridge, shrouded in an unsettling opacity, presented with a texture that would baffle both your bartender and your dentist. For the Egyptians, beer transcended mere social enjoyment. It was, in essence, a vital part of their sustenance, crafted from loaves of emmer bread that had been partially baked, soaked in water, mashed and fermented into a chunky slurry. It bore a striking resemblance to a soupy oatmeal rather than a crisp, refreshing ale. Though the official label may be liquid bread, let's not kid ourselves. This was simply a bowl of carbs, trying to hide its true nature. This beer found its way into the hands of all who gathered, in a realm where the relentless sun beats down. Peasants toil, priests offer solace, children play amidst the chaos, and scribes record the tales of survival. Each day unfolds with the looming threats of crocodiles and the demands of public works, weaving a tapestry of life filled with struggle and resilience. It was rich in flavor, a bit enchanting, and more affordable than anything else that didn't demand a hunt with a spear. And now, let me unveil the unexpected turn of events. Beer transcended mere sustenance. It was frequently transformed with an array of herbs, spices, and other intriguing ingredients, particularly during celebrations or sacred rituals. Yearn to connect with the divine? How about we include some mandrake, yearning to cast aside the priest's words on the grand design of the universe? Mix in a splash of fermented date juice and let fate take its course. Indeed, while hygiene posed a challenge, beer emerged as a clever solution to that dilemma as well. Water has the power to bring an end, yet beer offers a different tale. The brew had undergone the alchemical processes of boiling, fermentation, and the careful addition of spices. It offered a sense of security that rivaled even the Great Nile, and proved to be more dependable than the whims of your colleagues. It comes to potency. Egyptian beer varied from a gentle haze to a state of utter bewilderment, where even the simplest tasks, like wearing sandals, became a distant memory.
Wow.
Though the alcohol content may not have been considered high by today's measures, the sheer volume consumed certainly compensated for it. In the days of ancient Egypt, the laborers who toiled on monumental projects, such as the Grand Pyramids, were often compensated with a daily supply of bira, generous ration of several liters. This intriguing practice suggests that a significant portion of the workforce was sustained by this liquid nourishment, blending the essence of hard work with a touch of mild inebriation. Gather round, friends, for a tale of beer awaits us. Let us delve into a thick beige, bread-like liquid that the ancient Egyptians joyfully referred to as beer, a concoction that contemporary brewers might deem a culinary offense. Egyptian beer was not merely a refreshing drink, it was a bold concoction, fermented brew with aspirations of grandeur. Crafted through the process of soaking partially baked loaves of emmer bread in water, they're mashing the mixture into a lumpy stew and allowing it to ferment in open vats. The end result was a cloudy, chunky concoction that was surprisingly chewy. Picture oatmeal, but this time it has its own thoughts and a gentle energy to share. Yet in spite of its texture, which archaeologists fondly refer to as rustic, this was the beloved drink of the masses. All partook in its essence: rulers, holy men, common folk, and even the little ones. At a time when water posed a perilous threat and milk raised eyebrows, beer emerged as the most benign choice, offering not only safety, but also a delightful bonus. It was rich in calories, gently intoxicating, and frequently presented in shared jugs. For there's a certain magic in five souls gathering to sip from a vessel of softened bread water. In the sacred spaces of temples and during vibrant festivals, the beer transforms into something extraordinary, infused with herbs, dates, honey, or perhaps even enigmatic ingredients that whisper of ancient rituals or daring experimentation. Historians remain in a state of uncertainty, pondering whether the inclusion of mandrake was a deliberate choice or merely the result of someone weary of the mundane world. This became the favored means of payment for those who toiled in labor. The laborers of the pyramids did not receive their wages in coins. Instead, they were rewarded with daily rations of beer, sometimes amounting to several liters each day. This suggests that the individuals transporting limestone blocks throughout the morning were doing so in a state of exhilaration and with a hearty appetite. And in a remarkable twist of fate, the pyramids found their way to existence. Consider that the next time you find yourself missing a deadline while savoring a cappuccino, flavor? Perhaps not the best. Yet if you find yourself in the year 1300 BCE, surrounded by endless dunes and battling the perils of dysentery, a tepid jar of beer porridge might just be the pinnacle of culinary excellence. Imagine a world where foam is but a distant memory, carbonation a forgotten delight, and glass bottles are replaced by sturdy ceramic jugs. Picture straws equipped with filters designed to catch the larger morsels of bread, all while a collective pledge is made to overlook the sensations of mouthfeel. Such is the essence of this unique experience. With your bread beer washed down and a floral buzz dancing in the air, the moment has come to envelop yourself in a haze of smoke. But a smoke unlike any other. Imagine kefi, the ancient Egyptian incense that wafted through temples, transforming them into realms of divine aromas, akin to heavenly bakeries. It left all who entered in a delightful haze, pondering whether they were truly meditating or simply caught in a blissful daze. Kefi was not merely a fleeting waft of frankincense. This was the enchanting creation born from the union of a skilled apothecary and a masterful pastry chef in the sacred halls of each temple. The recipes danced in diversity, yet the essence remained the same. Myrrh, honey, wine, raisins, cinnamon, juniper, mint, and an array of spices, often overlooked and spared from sacrifice, found their way into the sacred concoctions. Blend the elements together, allow them to ferment, shape them into pellets, and let them smolder gently in hallowed spaces until all present either experience profound spirituality or lost track of their purpose for entering. It served a purpose in sacred cleansing, a euphemism for enveloping this space in a cloud of aromatic smoke to wash away our transgressions, or at the very least to blur the recollections of last night's revelry and indulgence. It's worth noting that temples lacked any form of ventilation that was seen as shattering the atmosphere. Picture yourself inside a limestone cube, beside a perspiring priest, who brandishes a smoking dish of kefi as if it were a fragrant elixir for the spirit. All while a Coptic chant hums in a steady, hypnotic rhythm behind you. Visions flowed freely, as if they were destined to emerge. Be it a moment of celestial insight or a fleeting struggle for breath, the distinction held little significance. The deities received their offerings, no matter the circumstances. To the Egyptians, Kifi transcended the role of mere air freshener. It embodied medicine, perfume, and a spiritual uplift, all woven into one essence. Pliny the Elder later noted, "The Kifi had the power to heal snake bites and enhance sleep," a notion that seems fitting if one considers the aim was to drift off completely. Some recipes were so intricate they unfolded like the cryptic instructions of a long-lost artifact. 16. Elements each introduced at exact moments beneath the watchful gaze of particular moons. Truly, it feels like a wonder that anything was accomplished at all. Yet, once ignited, the scent wafted over the Nile like an ethereal mist, heralding the arrival of something divine. Or perhaps indicating that someone was trying to mask the remnants of yesterday's bustling fish market. Even in death, Kifi remained a haunting presence. It met its fiery fate during the sacred rites of mummification, laid to rest in the hidden chambers of tombs, and perhaps even played a role in the curious tale of a pharaoh who found himself inadvertently wrapped in a fragrant spice rub. In essence, Kifi embodied Egypt's philosophy. If it can't be consumed, set it ablaze and inhale the essence of its spirit. If Blue Lotus was the laid-back companion of Egypt, and Kifi was the theatrical diva with a flair for the dramatic, then Mandrake was that unpredictable guest you welcomed once and swiftly wished you hadn't. With its forked roots that faintly echoed the shape of tiny humans, and a reputation that sent shivers down the spines of even the most seasoned priests, Mandrake was not merely a herbal remedy, but rather a botanical challenge that beckoned the brave. In the annals of ancient Egyptian medicine, Mandrake emerged as a dual-purpose marvel, serving as both a painkiller and a potential aphrodisiac, a combination that evokes a sense of awe and trepidation. It found its way into temple recipes and medical scrolls, earning a level of reverence akin to that bestowed upon wild beasts and pharaohs in their darker moments. The Ebers Papyrus, a fascinating relic of ancient wisdom that feels as if it could be plucked from the pages of a magical tome. Within its scrolls, one finds Mandrake, a remedy for insomnia, a boon for fertility, and a tonic for the heart's strength. It may seem admirable at first glance, yet one must not forget that an incorrect dosage could just as swiftly transform your heart into a vessel of peril, leading to cardiac arrest. Mandrake, a curious plant indeed. It holds within its roots alkaloids such as scopolamine and atropine, compostes that weave their magic upon the nervous system, sometimes leading one to believe that their very bed is melting away beneath them in gentle whispers. It offered a touch of tranquility. Somewhat larger ones step into the realm of night terrors, where Ra encounters a crocodile adorned with a wig, and the tale of the harvesting myth unfolds before your very eyes. In the tapestry of later folklore, woven from the threads of early beliefs, the act of pulling a mandrake root from the earth was said to unleash a haunting scream with great volume. With a deadly precision, thus the answer lay in securing it to a dog, shielding your ears and allowing the unfortunate animal to pull it loose, all the while praying your neighbors would remain blissfully unaware. Though concrete proof is lacking that the Egyptians were binding plants to dogs and anticipating their cries, the notion that the plant possessed a mystical and somewhat fearsome energy aligns perfectly with their beliefs. In the shadows of ancient practices, Mandrake found its place, entwined in rituals and fertility rites, or perhaps casually infused into beer for those who sought their visions with a hint of earthy flavor. In any event, it was far from the ordinary. Herb Mandrake was sought after by priests, magicians, and those willing to heed the counsel of a man adorned in shimmering gold leaf. When wielded with intention, it has the power to lull one into slumber, ease discomfort, and perhaps even spark the creation of a sultry verse or two. In a wild twist of fate, one might find themselves awakening 4 days later, utterly convinced they had transformed into a scarab beetle, amidst the ancient scrolls of Egyptian medical knowledge. nestled between remedies for crocodile bites and the careful arrangement of amulets on aching limbs, there exists a subtle reference to none other than cannabis. In the realm of pain relief, the ancient Egyptians were not merely dependent on the whims of the gods or the simple act of chewing reeds to escape their troubles. At times, they sought out something with a touch of nature's essence. In ancient medical texts, such as the Ebers Papyrus and Ramesseum Papyrus, cannabis finds its place, primarily recognized for its healing properties against inflammation, sore eyes, and a range of gynecological issues. Indeed, it pertains to gynecological matters. In the time of the ancients, women in Egypt might have enjoyed the benefits of THC-infused suppositories, a practice that echoes through the ages and seems poised for a revival in the modern marketplace, perhaps finding its way onto Etsy's virtual shelves. Certainly. The Egyptians didn't partake in rolling joints or baking brownies with it, at least not in any records we have. In the age-old practice of healing, cannabis found its way into the hands of those who sought relief. It was often transformed into fragrant oils, lovingly mixed into soothing salves or sweetened with honey. For what better way to embrace the journey of wellness than with a touch of delight? When applied to the skin, it brought relief from pain. It's inhaled by mistake. Ah, the temple incense now reveals its deeper significance. Was it for enjoyment? In an official capacity, the answer is no. Perhaps in a manner not formally recognized. In the sweltering embrace of 120-degree heat, where plumbing is a luxury and the threat of unpredictable crocodiles lurks in every shadow, it's easy to understand how one might find themselves inadvertently over-medicating. Such is the tale of survival in a world fraught with challenges. And if your high priest begins conversing with statues with an air of certainty, who are we to question whether that might be a glimpse of divine insight? There exists tangible proof as well, in the depths of ancient mummies and burial sites. A curious discovery awaits. Trace amounts of cannabis, opium, and nicotine. This revelation invites us to ponder intriguing pharmacological mysteries, or perhaps consider the most enigmatic funeral offerings ever encountered. And let us not overlook the priests. These were individuals honed in the art of chanting for hours, skilled in the interpretation of dreams, and adept at gazing into the swirling incense smoke until it revealed its secrets. Should their rituals have included cannabis, it was not for mere amusement. It served to bridge the gap between mortals and the divine, or at the very least, to converse with the barrier that stood before them. In the softly illuminated, fragrant nooks of the ancient Egyptian temple pharmacy, nestled behind the desiccated lizards and sacred bombs, lay the opium stashini, crinkled poppy pods brought in from the eastern Mediterranean, hidden away like a celestial secret waiting to be uncovered. For when the shadows of plague loom, pain gnaws at your spirit, and the weight of pyramid-related back injuries burdens your every step, mere prayer may not suffice. While not originally from Egypt, it is believed that opium poppies first arrived. Through trade routes connecting to Cyprus or Crete, the Egyptians embraced new ideas with fervor and excitement from the very beginning. As the new kingdom unfolded, poppies emerged as the ancient world's favored sedative, a remarkable remedy intertwined with the threads of mild addiction. Opium was more than a mere pain reliever. It transformed the experience of childbirth, quieted persistent coughs, eased the turmoil of the stomach, and infused temple chants about cosmic harmony with a rhythm that resonated deeply. Administered in drinks, pills, or occasionally as suppositories, it became the pharmaceutical equivalent of a gentle whisper assuring you don't worry about it. It effortlessly nestled into the temple medicine cabinet, that revered space where the art of healing intertwined with the enigmatic divine in a time long past. The sacred figures, who wore two hats as both healers and spiritual guides, would offer their remedies amidst rituals and solemn treatments, perhaps uttering phrases such as, "This will soothe the celestial strain within your spleen." Regardless of whether it was your deity's wrath or the discomfort of your teeth, opium had the power to soothe them both. The ancient texts, shrouded in mystery, refrain from naming it opium directly, but that would be far too revealing. They allude to snippets from the poppy plant in a manner reminiscent of how contemporary labels mention natural flavors, which offers little reassurance. Yet let us not deceive ourselves into thinking this was solely for healing purposes. In the delicate dance of existence, one often finds a hazy boundary where the quest for spiritual uplift intertwines with the bliss of a perfectly timed slumber. 4. The elite of ancient Egypt, particularly those undergoing the sacred process of embalming. Opium may have played a role in their final farewell. What finer approach to confront the depths of the underworld than to be completely enveloped in bliss, utterly oblivious to the scarab beetle making its way across your nose? In the land of ancient wonders, opium emerged as a blend of healing and solace, a potion that danced on the edge of order and tumult. When wielded with care, it brought comfort to suffering. When misused, it transformed temple assistants into dazed figures, merely providing a backdrop to the unfolding drama. In a realm filled with tooth drills, serpents, and swirling sandstorms, even the faintest whisper of magic could weave a tapestry of wonder. In the land of ancient Egypt, wine flowed as a symbol of elegance, a divine nectar, a tribute to Osiris himself. Yet, do not be deceived by the graceful amphory. This could strike with the force of a chariot crash, particularly when it arrived infused with the age-old counterpart of a little something special. Wines were not merely fermented grape juice. They held tales of the land, the sun, and the hands that nurtured them. They were elixirs, brews, and at times, gentle explorations into the realms of altered awareness. In ancient times, the Egyptians infused their wine with a rich tapestry of flavors, drawing from the enchanting essence of mandrake, the delicate notes of blue lotus, and the aromatic depths of myrrh and frankincense. Elements that evoke a sense of the ethereal until you come to understand they were likely included for the ultimate elevation of spirit. In the heart of religious festivals, these powerful elixirs found their stage. At the Feast of Drunkenness, for instance, revelers didn't merely sip wine to savor its origins. They consumed it to reach a state of profound detachment. The intention was never to be inebriated. It was a delicate balance between realms, perhaps while twirling with a priest clad in leopard skin. These spiked brews were frequently depicted in medical texts as remedies. It's a clear sign that creativity was in full bloom, feeling the weight of a headache upon you. Experience a wine enriched with the essence of fermented lotus. Are your joints feeling achy? Imagine a rich aromatic blend of frankincense, steeped in tradition, aged for 2 weeks in a humble clay pot, ready to unveil its enchanting essence. Ah, the weight of existence, a shadow that looms over the soul. Ah, that particular situation certainly called for some divine oversight, and perhaps a cozy floor mat to soften the impact. And it wasn't merely the mortals who reveled in this elixir of solace. The deities were thought to hold a fondness for a well-crafted spiked offering. In sacred spaces, vessels brimming with wine were ceremoniously spilled, offered to the eternal rest of the departed, and employed in rituals designed to invite the divine presence to inhabit statues, or at the very least, sway in their vicinity. Let me paint a picture for you. This was no ordinary table wine. With the right blend of ingredients, these revered concoctions had the power to soothe anxious minds, alleviate discomfort, or transform a midsummer feast into an enchanting journey through the realms of the unknown. And since every element was woven into a sacred tapestry, no one dared to challenge the measure. Should the room begin to whirl, it would be a transcendental experience. Should you find yourself fainting amidst the lotus garden, consider it a sacred connection. In the realm of the ancient Egyptians, wine transcended mere refreshment. It was a vessel capable of transporting you to realms of enlightenment, to the embrace of slumber, or into the bewildering grasp of a perplexed crocodile deity, in a realm where order, ritual, and geometry reigned supreme. The ancient Egyptians embraced a fascinating openness towards the mysteries of trance states. Indeed, they offered their support, but only outside the realm of accounting. These transformed states of mind were perceived as direct pathways to the divine, or perhaps to a profoundly dramatic inner dialogue. Divine possession was frequently regarded as a sacred elevation rather than a crisis of health. When a temple dancer began to convulse in the midst of her performance, the concerned acolytes did not hastily whisk her away. She received a resounding round of applause. Hathor had made her entrance. It seemed, and she certainly had some fervent thoughts. On the rhythm of the tambourine, these trances were often conjured through a cherished blend of repetitive drumming, rhythmic chanting, smoke inhalation, sleep deprivation, and wine with enigmatic floaties swirling within it. The outcome? Unexpected flashes of foresight, theatrical, breaths of astonishment, and the rare, spontaneous slumber upon the ground. Priests and priestesses were skilled in the art of hosting divine beings, inviting them into their very selves during sacred rituals. Much like welcoming esteemed guests into a cherished abode, this encompassed shifts in tone, stance, and an unexpected compulsion to declare enigmatic truths while gazing into the flames. In countless temples, it was merely another Wednesday unfolding in the tapestry of time to those who stood outside. It might have appeared as if a wave of unconsciousness swept through the crowd, yet inside the temple, this was the sacred manner in which divine messages were conveyed. At times, the deities offered guidance. At other moments, they chastised, and on occasion, they insisted on greater tributes of cake, revealing much about the beliefs and desires of the ancients. The trance sometimes came unbidden. Whispers of the afflicted being claimed by divine beings abound, often heralded by fervent cries, trembling bodies, and an abundance of fragrant smoke. The question lingers, were these genuine divine messages, or merely the result of inhaling 4 hours of kifi smoke beside a crackling brazier? The debate continues to spark intrigue. As the trance faded away, the individual who had been under its spell would emerge, often appearing a bit dazed and glistening with perspiration. The ceremony came to an end with a chorus of applause, a taste of holy wine, and perhaps a brief slumber nestled against a pillar, as another tended to the blessed remnants left behind. To contemporary observers, divine possession may appear as a fusion of theatrical expression and overwhelming heat. To the ancient Egyptians, however, it represented the zenith of spiritual encounters. A moment when the divine transcended the sandstone veil of existence to impart a few enigmatic pieces of wisdom for life. One might assume that the finality of death would put an end to any invitations for a gathering. Not in the land of the pharaohs. The boundary separating the living from the dead felt more like a gentle nudge, akin to the advice of waiting an hour after a meal before swimming, or perhaps the caution against carving hieroglyphs while inebriated. The Egyptians held a profound reverence for the departed, weaving them into the very fabric of their social lives. This was not a mere figure of speech. Families made their way to tombs during vibrant festivals such as the enchanting Feast of the Valley, carrying baskets filled with food, jugs of beer, in an atmosphere reminiscent of a lively tailgate gathering, albeit set against the backdrop of a necropolis. They would gather outside the tomb, sharing meals and drinks, engaging in a heartfelt dialogue with the departed, often addressing the wall and wishing that Grandma could savor the pickled fish with them. In the realm of the afterlife, numerous tombs were adorned with deceptive doors, intricately carved portals that served as a passage for the departed to accept their offerings. It remains a mystery whether this refers to a spiritual connection, or simply the pleasure derived from the fragrance wafting from beyond, in the eyes of the ancient Egyptians. The departed were not merely gone, they continued to revel in the pleasures of life-savoring food, sipping drink, enjoying music, and sharing a good bit of gossip. Thus, it was only fitting that they celebrated with grand festivities in their honor. Melodies filled the air, fragrant smoke danced around, and offerings flowed freely. In moments of revelry, the living would find themselves overwhelmed, shedding tears, revealing hidden truths, or unwittingly disturbing the sacred gifts laid before them. It felt akin to a gathering of kin, though with less bickering and a touch more of the macabre essence. These gatherings transcended mere acts of remembrance. They blossomed into exchanges rich with mutual benefit. The vibrant nourished the departed. The departed, in essence, bestowed their blessings upon the living in exchange. Abundant harvests, safeguarding, and a reduction in unsettling dreams featuring hippos. All emerged victorious in the stillness of the night. Some souls would find themselves resting within the ancient tombs, yearning for dreamlike encounters with their beloved departed, or perhaps a whimsical word of wisdom from a ghostly accountant of yore. Cease the act of extending financial support to your brother, the dream may suggest. Furthermore, the amulets are to be placed on the left side. To contemporary ears, this may seem quite grim. To the Egyptians, it made perfect sense. The afterlife was not an end, but rather a change of scenery, and if Great Uncle Horemheb wished to join the festivities by way of divine osmosis through a stone wall, who were they to deny such a whimsical desire? Amidst the swirling incense, sacred trances, and indulgent festivities, the ancient Egyptians knew that their celebrations bore a cost. As dawn broke, it often brought with it a throbbing headache and the hazy recollection of having raised their voices to a statue. Indeed, in a realm where blue lotus served as healing and beer graced the breakfast table, the aftermath of the night still struck with relentless force. Archaeological texts seem to hold their tongues on the matter of hangovers, likely because the scribes were far too preoccupied with their throbbing heads to etch hieroglyphs, as if struck by Ra's own hand. Yet the signs are unmistakable. In the ancient scrolls of medicine, one finds tales of head pains, accompanied by remedies steeped in nature's bounty herbs, honey, and the quiet art of stillness, as if one were in sacred dialogue with the divine. In more intricate scenarios, a ceremonial purification was suggested, typically featuring a priest, a pail of frigid Nile water, and perhaps a serious discourse on moderation that seemed to fade from memory. The true art naturally lay in the skillful dance of plausible deniability. If you had twirled without a shirt in the shadowy alcove of a tomb, you wouldn't utter the words, "I went too far." You spoke of being enveloped by the sacred. It was not merely a blackout. It was a fateful meeting where the echoes of Hathor's laughter danced through the air, carrying with it a sense of reverence, especially for those who found themselves in the grip of misfortune. There was always a cleansing, not in a figurative sense, but in the most tangible way. In ancient times, the Egyptians held a peculiar fondness for emetics, those delightful brews crafted to cleanse the body and spirit, purging one's transgressions. From every possible avenue, picture receiving a potion that carries the flavor of sorrow, accompanied by the promise that it will bring you back to equilibrium. In the blink of an eye, your equilibrium has vanished into thin air. As fate would have it, the priests found themselves in a more favorable position. They underwent training, they possessed a sacred power, and above all, they were accompanied by those who would guide them back to their haven. As the sun rose, the ordinary celebrants stirred, their hair adorned with delicate lotus petals, and their faces marked by the soft imprints of sandal soles. They pondered in wonder whether they had twirled with a deity or merely with a fervent soul embracing the divine. Yet none could resist the allure of the next festivity. For the quest for spiritual awakening is a tantalizing pursuit, particularly when accompanied by frothy brews, swirling smoke, and the faint possibility of slipping into a trance, where one might find themselves revealing their neighbor's secrets before a revered statue. When ancient Egyptians approached the end of life, their preparations went far beyond simple linens and a heartfelt eulogy. They gathered their provisions, including snacks and substances, perhaps even a secret reserve, just in case the endless journey turned tedious. For those who believe the revelry ceases once your heart is measured, prepare for a surprise. It simply shifted beneath the surface. Tombs were not mere silent, solemn places. These were thoughtfully crafted beginnings for the spirit, adorned with nourishment, libations, and uplifting botanical displays in the ancient world. Mummies found their final resting places adorned with delicate blue lotus petals, elegant wine jugs, fragrant incense cones, and the enigmatic sealed jars that spark curiosity and intrigue. Among modern archaeologists, who regard them with a blend of respect and cautious wonder, consider the tale of Tutankhamun, if you will. When Howard Carter unveiled the secrets of the tomb, he discovered more than mere gold and furniture. He stumbled upon wine, oils, herbs, and what could only be likened to an ancient Egyptian treasure trove of wellness remedies. If a contemporary figure of influence were laid to rest today, the scene would bear an unsettling resemblance, excluding the canopic jars. This was an experience beyond mere luxury. It was a carefully crafted plan, the essence, or tavern if you prefer, craved sustenance and excitement in the realm beyond. The promise of everlasting joy was not destined to sustain itself, it seems. Thus, the priests and embalmers meticulously ensured that you were laid to rest with all your cherished spiritual comforts. Offerings of sustenance, fragrant oils, and a hearty supply of whatever helped you endure those lengthy temple rituals while maintaining the facade of enlightenment. In some tombs, one might discover fascinating instructions left for the departed, guiding them on how to prepare and savor these offerings in the realm beyond. Merely bearing the blue lotus into eternity falls short of the true essence, it seems. You might have required a guiding hand, as if the heavens themselves had a fleeting recollection. And let us not overlook the ritual of opening the mouth, a sacred act designed to allow the departed to eat, speak, and truth be told, enjoy that revered fermented drink with finesse, for to raise a toast to Osiris with a sealed jaw is quite the challenge. This reveals a singular, unmistakable truth. In the realm of ancient Egypt, the lines between joy and devotion were beautifully intertwined. Should anything draw them nearer to the divine during their earthly existence, even if it was a mystical bloom steeped in wine, it rightfully found its place in the tomb. It's in the realm of ancient Egypt, where the sands whisper tales of the past. One finds not only amulets and linen headrests, but perhaps even a starter pack of dreams. This civilization gifted the world with majestic pyramids, enigmatic mummies, an eyeliner crafted to shield against the sun's fierce gaze. Yet it also brought to light a profound unvoiced truth of our existence. At times those in charge are just elevated enough in their own minds to believe everything is unfolding perfectly. In the grand tapestry of ancient Egypt, the pharaoh stood as the living representation of Horus, handpicked by the divine to uphold the sacred balance of Ma'at, cosmic order that governed all existence. In the shadows of the temple, the priests held the keys to the sacred treasures, the fragrant offerings, and the carefully crafted timetable of those destined to chant beside the smoldering Kifi until they succumbed to the intoxicating haze. The religious elite were more than mere spiritual guides. In a world where the line between healing and transcendence blurred, these pharmacists operated under the watchful eye of the state, offering a range of potions and elixirs from soothing bombs to mind-altering journeys, all cleverly wrapped in the guise of sacred rituals. If it had a potent aroma, sparked a sensation upon touch, or left you weaving metaphors for days on end, it likely originated from the sacred apothecary of the priesthood. As the pharaohs donned their majestic crowns, it was the wise priests who possessed the secret art of mixing mandrake with wine, ensuring that none would meet an untimely end. This bestowed upon them a vast reservoir of influence and subtle strength, not solely in the realms of healing and ritual, but also in guiding the emotional and mystical atmosphere of the community. Ah, you haven't inquired about the happenings of the harvest, have you? In the stillness of the night, you inquired about the visions that danced before the high priest's eyes during his trance. But here lies the twist. It was often a falcon, accompanied by a mesmerizing dance of swirling gold light. We must remember the financial aspect. The temples stood as powerful landowners, bustling employers, and grand hubs of drug production. The blue lotus did not flourish on its own. One must gather it, let it dry, allow it to ferment, and speak to it softly in hallowed words. Indeed, the essence of religion was profoundly sacred, yet it functioned like a finely tuned apparatus. A journey fueled by belief, nature's remedies, and the rare, transcendent moments of celestial insight. In countless ways, the inquiry into who held sway over Egypt transcended mere crowns. It delved into the realm of those who commanded the fragrant incense burners. For when the divine whispers through dreams, and those dreams follow the inhalation of something fragrant in a hidden sanctum, one must ponder the implications. Grand Tapestry of Ancient Egypt, one finds a profound emphasis on harmony, fairness, and the intricate dance of order. In the realm of the affluent, those who could indulge in the luxury of a private tomb and the gentle caress of a fan while savoring their meals were also privy to the exquisite treasures narcotic delights that remained hidden from the humble. Scrolls of the Village Clinic. Let it be known. The ancient Egyptian society was a tapestry of hierarchy, and the use of mind-altering substances wove through this fabric just as all other elements did. At the pinnacle, the pharaoh reigned supreme, while the humble goat herder toils below, and all the others engage in the delicate art of feigning satisfaction, inhaling the scent of dried flowers as if it were a true offering. As the common folks savored their humble barley beer, perhaps catching a fleeting scent of temple incense if they leaned in just right. The elite reveled in opulence, luxuriating in blue lotus oil baths and sipping spiked pomegranate wine from their exquisite gold-rimmed chalices. Among the more powerful substances, mandrake Kai-Fi blends infused with opium and imported cannabis resins were probably reserved for ritual or medicinal purposes, conveniently coinciding with the daily routines of court officials and high priests. Isn't it amusing how that turned out? Consider Pharaoh himself, the exalted sovereign of both Upper and Lower Egypt. Surely required some assistance from the revered collection of mystical substances to navigate the profound responsibilities of governance. If his dreams were deemed as divine communications, then easing his sleepless nights with a mind-altering elixir wasn't mere luxury. It was a matter of safeguarding the realm. Even in the shadow of death, the elite clung to their treasures with unwavering resolve. Within the silent embrace of many tombs lie medicinal vials, incense cones, and wine jars. Their labels so cryptic they might as well have whispered, for ceremonial purposes only. One might ponder whether the deities truly needed such an abundance of imported poppy resin, or if Tutankhamun simply preferred to have a variety of choices at his disposal. In the midst of it all, the lower classes found themselves not entirely excluded from the experience. Rather, they were offered a diluted version of the tale, a brew so dense it could be savored, faint wisps of incense lingering in the air, and a semblance of transcendence sought amidst the grueling 18-hour toil of erecting towering obelisks. And when an individual managed to acquire a forbidden substance without the proper permit, was often labeled as witchcraft, heresy, or simply a very unfortunate day for a field laborer. After 14 chapters filled with sacred snorting, divine day drinking, and hallucinogenic healthcare, one might ponder the deeper implications of it all regarding ancient Egypt. To begin with, it reveals their remarkable ability to weave together the threads of science, spirituality, recreational chemistry into a cohesive belief system. From a single bloom, both solace and foresight emerged. In a realm where healing and the arcane intertwined, they moved together, guided by the rhythmic pulse of a sistrum and the fragrant wafts of something igniting. Far from the watchful eyes of regulatory approval, it unveils the profound reverence the ancients held for the transformative nature of altered states, not merely a means of escape, but a genuine pathway to uncovering wisdom, healing, and the rare encounter with a deity adorned with an animal head and a penchant for the theatrical. Their rituals unfolded like a grand performance, meticulously orchestrated display of chemical artistry, where the air was thick with incense. The voices rose in chant, and the cast partook of psychotropic brews, all under the watchful eye of those who guarded the sacred elixirs. That's merely the age-old practice of restricting access to well-being, while the privileged indulged in their luxurious lotus spas and fine imported opium. The rest were left with nothing but lukewarm beer and the misfortune of an eye infection. Heavenly wisdom awaited those who could indulge in the opulent tomb experience, complete with a lavish afterlife minibar for the discerning soul. Yet, the most enlightening insight may be this. Throughout time, humanity has yearned to experience deeper emotions, to behold greater wonders, and to uncover more truths. Particularly when it comes to reclining in a sacred space and escaping the burdens of daily tasks. The ancient Egyptians, much like today's seekers of enlightenment, engaged in practices that echo our own weather. It was the soothing embrace of essential oils or the spirited debates on microdosing found in contemporary podcasts. Their distinct flair for eyeliner and a profound reverence for their visions set them apart.
Oh.
Yet the essence of their experiences resonates through time. What implications does this hold for us? Perhaps our forebears were not merely primitive drug enthusiasts or quirky spiritual seekers. Perhaps they were simply striving to find their way through a perplexing, enchanting, and frequently sorrowful world, armed with the instruments, traditions, and aromatic wisps they possessed. And if that odyssey toward tranquility happened to embrace wine, wildflowers, and a mesmerizing moment where you channeled the spirit of Anubis, so be it. In the vibrant heart of Florence, during the late 1400s, the atmosphere was heavy with the mingling scents of incense, perspiration, and the delicate fragrance of crushed roses. The city thrived with vibrant art, sharp intellect, and a web of political intrigue. Yet it was also steeped in a peculiar kind of madness, a deep fascination with allure, not merely a beauty. A vision of elegance from a bygone era, kind that demanded an appearance akin to a delicate porcelain statue, regardless of the toll it took on you. Behold the arrival of Sarasa, a sumptuous, smooth white face paint crafted from, as you might have surmised, lead. Indeed, a genuine lead. In the enchanting cities of Florence and Venice, women adorn themselves with this shimmering substance, applying it to their cheeks, foreheads, and décolletage, all in pursuit of that ultra-pale, ethereal beauty, in a realm where the sun-kissed hue signified toil and hardship. Embodying the pallor of a spectre became the pinnacle of prestige. Yet this was far more than a mere sprinkle of powder. No, Sarasa was applied with the intricacy of Venetian stucco. Some women took it to the extreme, choosing to sleep in it, shunning the act of washing their faces, and letting the harmful substance seep into their very skin. The outcome, a luminous, ethereal shimmer. It was all smooth sailing until the sores made their unwelcome entrance, and when they did, they simply layered on more lead to conceal them. Imagine, if you will, a patchwork of artistry and innovation, much like a Renaissance Band-Aid. A promise that ensured the scar would remain forever fresh. If the lead didn't capture your attention, perhaps the mercury will draw you in. Once a captivating component in the Renaissance beauty repertoire, mercury was employed to address blemishes and diminish the appearance of sunspots. Mix that with arsenic-laden tonics and vinegar-infused face baths, and you had an elaborate scheme of chemical warfare, all cleverly disguised as sophistication. And let us not overlook the classism woven into every delicate layer. Elegant ladies desired their skin to appear unblemished by the sun's rays or the trials of life. Thus, the more pale, the more desirable, even if it left them weak, disoriented, or ultimately lifeless. To appear celestial required a price that was nothing short of ethereal. Yet one might find the most ironic twist to be. The women who indulged in this toxic luxury were also privy to the exotic allure of imported perfumes from the Orient, the delicate essence of rosewater distillations, and the invigorating touch of camphor-laced tonics. They exuded a fragrance reminiscent of celestial beings, as their skin shed in delicate layers. In the vibrant streets of Renaissance Florence, if your eyebrows were anything less than a masterpiece, it was evident you were not fully embracing the artistic spirit of the age. In a timeless pursuit to embody the essence of a Botticelli masterpiece, or a whimsically chic egg. The women of the Renaissance meticulously plucked their hairlines and eyebrows into a delicate oblivion. A high, rounded forehead stood as the pinnacle of beauty. The greater the expanse of your forehead, the more you seem to embody nobility and wisdom. In a time long past, women took it upon themselves to meticulously pluck away rows of hair from their brows and along their hairlines, using tweezers, rough cloth, or even seashells, embracing the beauty rituals of their era. This was not merely a fleeting moment. It was a ritual of upkeep, a weekly dance of agony and exactitude. To tame those persistent hairs, women would apply mixtures crafted from walnut oil or, believe it or not, cat dung. To reduce the regrowth, some even singed stray hairs away with the flickering flames of candles. For what could be more elegant and sophisticated than setting your visage ablaze? Once upon a time, there were eyebrows, delicate, gracefully curved, and almost imperceptible, as if it were a whisper in the air. A woman of remarkable sophistication possessed brows that were entirely absent from view. Instead, a gentle shadow or hint was later brushed in, often using burnt cork or powdered charcoal, which may sound refined until you come to understand how it's been marred by the sweltering Florentine sun. Picture this, your eyebrows, gradually sliding down your cheeks as you sit in the solemnity of Mass. Heavenly, in the midst of it all. Body hair was regarded as a mark of the wild, a sign of untamed nature and unrefined cleanliness. With a concoction of vinegar, quicklime, and arsenic, the women skillfully removed it. A delightful fusion once more. The concoction sizzled, yet it bestowed a silky touch upon the skin, until the moment it changed forever. And what of the scalp? Locks were meticulously arranged into structured, unyielding designs, frequently woven and enhanced with artificial strands crafted from wool, horsehair, or even the genuine tresses of another. At times, hairpieces underwent a transformation, immersed in lye, and bleached to capture the coveted golden hue that defined the season's style. What if it didn't align? All is well. Simply dan a cap atop it and weave a tale that it did. A masterclass in the art of resolving challenges, reminiscent of a vibrant era of creativity and innovation. Ah, the twist of fate. Every bit of hair removal and sculpting unfolded in a world devoid of mirrors. Indeed, mirrors were a precious rarity, coveted and costly. Many women adorned themselves intuitively, often guided by the hands of their devoted servants. Ensure your maid possesses steady hands and a completely straightforward demeanor. One misstep and your widow's peak transforms into a monk's turns. In the realm of Renaissance allure, it was not merely the presence of natural grace that captivated, but rather the artful removal of excess that defined true elegance. Eliminate the brows, eliminate the hairline, eliminate the ordinary understanding, all for the sake of grace and refinement. Once the visage had been meticulously adorned, shaped, and tainted, it was time to turn attention to the form, in particular molding it into forms that the human ribcage had no right to dream of. Behold the Renaissance corset, striking blend of style and the potential for injury. Renaissance corsets. While not the extreme wasp-waisted contraptions of later times, certainly had a purpose and made their intentions clear. Referred to as stays or bodies, these initial creations were crafted to smooth the torso rather than constrict it. The aim was to craft a seamless, sturdy canvas that highlighted the bust and stretched the silhouette to new heights. What could possibly be more alluring than embodying the essence of a refined plank? The materials that provide rigidity? Imagine a world where whalebone graces your life, a symbol of opulence and elegance. Reeds or pasteboard, should you find yourself without, every piece intricately stitched into linen. Laced with care and drawn snugly across the back, embarking on this journey demanded help, unwavering resolve, and an unexpected acceptance of the fading edges of sight. A noblewoman, adorned in her elaborate attire, resembled an armored artichoke layered, spiked, yet possessing an unexpected delicacy. Corsets transcended mere aesthetics. They embodied profound moral declarations. A tall, proud stance spoke of inherent goodness. To slouch, in contrast, hinted at a lack of moral fortitude, and perhaps even the influence of darker forces. The realm of refined society, a lady of distinction would carry herself with poise, her posture upright, her movements precise, and her breaths measured and delicate. Extra credit if you swooned elegantly in a crowd. That simply indicated you were on the right path. Beneath it all, linen chemises worked their magic, soaking up sweat because, well, here's a little revelation. In the sweltering embrace of summer, Florence revealed itself as a realm where heavy fabrics and stagnant air were unwelcome. Yet, amidst the heat, elegance reigned supreme, while comfort remained a distant whisper. And yet, in the midst of the unease, corsets offered a singular advantage. They anchored all that was around them, in contrast to contemporary brass that feign support yet stage a subtle uprising by midday. Renaissance stays provided a level of structural reinforcement akin to that found in bridges. One could sprint, twirl, or endure a moment of weakness, and yet the world around would remain utterly unchanged. Indeed, not all could partake in the luxury of such architectural elegance. Women of the working class chose to forego stays, embracing looser bodices and fabrics that allowed for greater breathability. Yet, within the circles of the elite, corsets held an indispensable place. Without it, you were merely a shadow of yourself, a tale left untold. The most challenging aspect? One had to partake in a meal while adorned with such an item. And so we arrive at the next intriguing conundrum of Renaissance fashion. It's indulging in a lavish banquet, all the while mindful of the delicate balance between enjoyment and the constraints of attire. In Renaissance Italy, the essence of beauty transcended mere appearances. The scene stretched out to the dinner table, where the worlds of fashion and food danced in a delicate yet tense embrace. In a world of opulence, noble women found themselves woven into the fabric of grand banquets, where the art of socializing unfolded amidst the splendor of feasting. On the flip side, they had to navigate this challenge while confined in a corset so snug that their internal organs were practically sharing a living space. Feasts were magnificent occasions. Tables sagged beneath the sumptuous bounty of roasted peacock, intricate marzipan sculptures, and opulent gilded fruit. For women of the upper class, the act of eating transformed into a refined spectacle. One might take delicate bites, perhaps, savor a sip, but the thought of unhinging one's jaw to feast upon a goose leg was simply out of the question. Such an act would have been utterly savage and fraught with peril, especially considering the structure of your bodice. Rather, the expectation was to savor delicate morsels, maintain an upright posture, and wear a smile despite the mounting discomfort in your sides. At times, the mere act of maintaining an upright posture for hours, while feigning delight in cold eel pie, could provoke a fainting spell, which, to be honest, only enhanced the overall ambience. With a ghostly pallor, she gasped for air, surrendering herself to the embrace of a dashing nobleman elegance a son apogee. Naturally, this courteous act of self-denial had its boundaries. In the dim light of their private chambers, many noble women found themselves consumed by a hidden hunger. Once the constricting corset was shed, they would indulge in secret feasts of sweetmeats and leftover cheese, savoring each bite in the solitude of their opulent retreats. Indeed, even the enchanting beauties of the Renaissance indulged in midnight feasts. They simply couldn't bring themselves to acknowledge it, and thus there existed guidelines even for those. It was once thought that certain foods held the power to influence one's complexion. The cucumbers faced disapproval. The skin became drenched, as if touched by the essence of a gentle rain. The allure of wine was embraced. It painted the cheeks with a vibrant hue. Some ladies even sipped on vinegar tonics to maintain their figure, for what could be more stylish than sacrificing their gut health? But then we must consider the intricate dance of digestion. A corset, your stomach found itself confined, with nowhere to escape. Women navigated their meals with a delicate grace, mindful of the potential perils of indigestion, bloating, or, heaven forbid, an unrefined burp. What a chilling tale. As the men lounged, indulging in drink and spirited debates over Dante, the women displayed a refined grace, partaking in just enough sustenance to maintain the appearance of conviviality, carefully avoiding excess that might disrupt the silhouette of their gowns. Once the visage was adorned, the tresses meticulously groomed, the corset cinched, and the delicacies daintily sampled, the moment arrived to embrace the essence of luxury. In the vibrant streets of Renaissance Florence, the fragrance you wore transcended mere embellishment. It became a powerful tool of social influence. The scent of a noble woman was meticulously crafted, reflecting her esteemed heritage, and to lack the aroma of imported opulence was nothing short of a scandal. The nose of the Renaissance was held to high standards, while the common folk may carry the scents of garlic, goat, and a hint of existential dread. The elite glide through salons and basilicas, leaving behind a fragrant trail of rosewater, musk, ambergris, and exotic spices. Should you stroll by a duchess and not be swept away by the allure of her fragrance, it's clear she hasn't put in the effort. In the realm of commerce, perfume reigns supreme. Italy, with Venice at its heart, stood as the grand center for the art of distillation, yet the most sought-after ingredients journeyed from distant lands. From the sands of Arabia comes frankincense, while myrrh journeys from the heart of Ethiopia. Cinnamon, with its warm embrace, hails from the shores of Ceylon, and ambergris, a curious and fragrant treasure, emerges from the depths of sperm whales. It was extravagantly costly and strikingly stylish, akin to the Renaissance version of anointing oneself with the finest designer whale bath. These fragrances were meant for more than mere pulse points. They found their way into gloves, woven into the very fabric of dress linings, and delicately misted onto handkerchiefs that ladies would wave with flair whenever an unsavory character approached, which was all too frequent. The streets lay in disarray. The people tended to their cleanliness with little consistency. Perfume served not merely as a luxury, but as a shield, a protective layer against the world. For the ambitious beauty, the art of scent layering became a vital ritual. First, the ritual began with a fragrant bath, often infused with rosewater or camphor, followed by a delicate dusting of crushed violet petals. Next came the soothing oil, gently massaged into the temples or wrists, culminating in a lavish mist of a potion that your trusted apothecary promised would leave men in tears and rivals in awe. Some adorned themselves with pomanders, those delicate, perforated orbs brimming with fragrant herbs, gracefully hanging around their necks or waists. Others hung them from their belts, like fragrant alarms ready to signal a story untold. Step lightly, for the air is thick with the scent of cinnamon and the weight of scrutiny. Yet these potions held secrets that were not always gentle. In the world of fragrances, some concoctions held the power of turpentine or tinctures so potent that they could unleash a storm of headaches, nausea, or even cause one to faint. One misstep in the mix, and you could transform from alluring to unbearable. Yet, the perfect scent has the power to unlock pathways, or at the very least, captivate the senses. A woman whose fragrance was enchanting wielded great power, ability to captivate, divert, or merely endure a gathering of unkempt burrs in the grand tapestry of the Renaissance. Beauty emerged as a fierce contender, with fashion serving as its dazzling shield, and Florence standing as the vibrant arena of this captivating struggle. The fabric you wore didn't merely convey a message about you. It shouted, it harmonized. It danced down the street, proclaiming your family's fortune, your husband's status, and the extent of your audacity in draining his resources for a mere sleeve. Velvet shone, like the most exquisite gem in the royal collection, crafted with an artistry akin to that bestowed upon sacred treasures. The velvet emerged as a sumptuous fabric, thick, weighty, and extravagantly priced. Donning it during the summer months, a bold display of strength, you were captivating indeed, but your significance was undeniable. And so, the brocade arrived. Not satisfied with just hues, brocade wove intricate patterns into the tapestry of design. Majestic lions, intertwining vines, and grand religious scenes intricately crafted in shimmering gold thread. And we're not delving into the nuances of subtle accents. These were gowns that could serve as magnificent altarpieces. The more elaborate the creation, the greater the investment of time and resources, allowing for a sense of satisfaction as you regarded the simpler sleeves of others with a knowing nod. By the way, the sleeves were detachable, a functional element transformed into a thrilling contest. Affluent women curated extensive collections of sleeves, showcasing them with the same flair as modern designer handbags. Embroidered and puffed, slashed and pearl-encrusted, some sleeves were so intricate they required their own storage system, and at times, their own attendants. Colors were imbued with meaning as well. Deep blues and crimsons emerged from rare dyes such as lapis lazuli and cochineal. pigments so precious they were secured like hidden treasures. Only those of wealth could indulge in these vibrant shades, while sumptuary laws in cities like Florence endeavored, yet ultimately faltered, in their attempts to confine specific colors to the elite. Yet the realm of laws lacks excitement, while the allure of dresses captivates the imagination. Even the hidden layers were exquisite, chemises adorned with delicate lace, petticoats revealing glimpses of shimmering silk, and girdles, those belt-like accessories, held significance beyond mere decoration. Some sparkled with gems and concealed secret compartments for perfume, prayer books, or perhaps even notes of vengeance. Yet this allure of fashion carried a cost, both in currency and consequence. A single gown could command a price exceeding a craftsman's annual earnings. Yet noblewomen didn't merely possess these exquisite garments, they were essential to their very existence. The gathering transformed into a grand performance where every ensemble spoke volumes, donning the same attire on more than one occasion. Isolation from society. Renaissance fashion extended beyond the ankle, though to be fair, the ankles were meant to remain a mystery. In a world where elegance reigned supreme, it was only fitting that a woman's feet were shrouded in the luxurious embrace of brocade and silk, a delicate secret kept from prying eyes. It was truly unfortunate, given the utterly absurd nature of Renaissance footwear at times. Let us embark on a journey with the Chopin. Behold the most dramatic footwear ever. Crafted, Chopins were, in essence, high-platform soles. A captivating fusion of ancient Roman sandals and stilts, hailing from the enchanting city of Venice. These creations were crafted to elevate exquisite garments above the filthy, disease-ridden thoroughfares. Yet as the years passed, practicality surrendered to style, and Chopins grew in height. Significantly taller, some reached heights of over 20 inches. Indeed, that is not a mistake. 20 inches to Dan them demanded a delicate equilibrium, rigorous practice, and often the assistance of a servant at each side. To walk without assistance was seen as a remarkable achievement, yet it carried with it the weight of social peril. Should you stumble, it wouldn't merely be a loss of pride. You could very well bring down half the wedding party along with you in Florence. The Chopins may not have reached the same heights of intensity, yet the influence still made its way through the streets. In a world of elegance, affluent women adorned their feet with exquisite pointed slippers crafted from luxurious velvet, intricately embroidered with silk threads and lined with the softest fur. These were shoes meant for the comfort of indoors and the great expanse of the outdoors. You adorned yourself in vibrant patterns with wooden or cork platforms secured beneath your slippers, safeguarding them from the rugged embrace of the street. A sensible approach, that is, unless you found yourself stumbling and fracturing your kneecaps on the unforgiving cobblestones. In Renaissance Italy, while foot-binding may not have been practiced, the societal expectations for possessing delicate, slender feet certainly loomed large. The shoes were sleek and slender, designed more for appearance than for the comfort of a stroll, but who needed to walk when one could effortlessly glide from sedan chair to palace hall, leaving behind a delicate trail of crushed flower petals and shattered arches. And then came the stockings. Women adorned their legs with exquisitely crafted hose, woven from the finest silk or wool, elegantly secured at the knee with delicate ribbons. These ribbons were occasionally infused with delightful fragrances, for if a passerby happened to catch sight of your shin, you would want to leave them enchanted by your exquisite aroma. Indeed, women of the lower class donned more modest footwear, crafted from durable leather for their toil, and clogs suited for the damp tasks at hand. Yet the noble class regarded footwear as a hidden power, hidden from view, unfeasible, and astonishingly costly. Every element wove together to convey one powerful message. True ladies glided gracefully. They drifted gently through the air. They moved with grace. They endured with elegance and flair. After countless hours of being adorned, refined, embellished, scented, padded, and elevated, what awaited on the horizon? Indeed, it's all about the dance. For what could be more fitting in the grand tapestry of Renaissance beauty than the challenge of navigating a polished marble floor, draped in 20 pounds of exquisite fabric, with merely 2 inches of air to breathe? courtly dances held great significance. These were not the light-hearted tales spun in a bustling tavern. Indeed, the court dances of the Renaissance were characterized by a slow, graceful elegance, meticulously crafted with intricate choreography. Each step was a carefully crafted act. Every gesture laden with meaning. Placing one's foot incorrectly may suggest a lack of social grace, blunder, perhaps even a hint of scandal. One could just as easily proclaim, "I possess not a single piece of lapis lazuli," and dash barefoot into the Arno. For noble women, dancing served as a measure of their grace under pressure. In the realm of dance, the most cherished forms, such as the pavin and the galliard, beckoned participants to glide gracefully in intricate patterns. With eyes cast down in modesty, one must never, under any circumstance, allow breath to escape through the mouth. Such a notion was deemed lacking in grace, which is a pity, for corsets restricted the very essence of a full breath. Leap was a daring wager, teetering on the edge of consciousness, and yet it held great significance. The elegance of a woman on the dance floor held as much weight in her standing as the treasures she brought with her. Parents engaged dance tutors, much like contemporary influences, enlist lighting designers. You discovered the art of turning with grace, the elegance of a bow, and the delicate balance of fanning yourself just enough to evoke intrigue, yet not so much that you appeared dampened by the heat. The aim was to exude a sense of untroubled mastery, all while your shoes ached and your ribs protested softly. There was also the intriguing aspect of social strategy. Through the art of dance, fleeting moments arose to connect with charming suitors. Gloved hands brushed against each other, eyes locked in a fleeting moment as they bowed, the air thick with the mingling of fragrances. It was a playful dance with annotations, yet to speak excessively, to act with audacity, or, dare I say too, share a laugh, could lead to unforeseen consequences. You danced on the edge of shattering your carefully crafted aura of serene grace. In the midst of it all, the atmosphere of each court event resonated with a symphony of scrutiny. Other women whispered about your gown, your hairstyle, your posture. Amidst the hushed whispers of servants and the anxious fretting of tutors, you were compelled to uphold the facade that none of it held any significance. Yet it unfolded just as it was meant to. A misstep or an awkward bow might linger in your mind for days on end. And thus you twirled with joy, beamed with light, and weathered the storms. As the last notes of the music faded into silence, you gracefully slipped away to refresh your sweat-streaked sarasa. Preparing for the next act of the evening, the guests had taken their leave. The candles had dripped into pools of wax, and the Renaissance noblewoman, radiant yet fragile, returned to her chambers, a whisper of her former self lingering in the air. Ah, but the realm of slumber, not just yet. In the beginning, there emerged the Renaissance interpretation of the evening ritual. Beware. Dear reader, for what unfolds is not a tale of self-care, but rather a descent into a carefully orchestrated decline. First, we unveiled the truth. Forth came the delicate linen cloths, the fragrant rosewater, and the pristine raw egg whites. The lead-based sarasa required a careful touch for its removal. Not due to fragility, but because vigorous scrubbing would risk taking skin along with it. In a quest for beauty, countless women turned to a blend of almond oil and vinegar, gently lifting the layers in hopes that the complexion beneath had not suffered too much wear. It often turned out that way. Then arrived the hair, or rather, what remained of it. With great care, the pins and artificial braids were gently unwound. To ensure that forehead wigs remained securely in place, one had to rely on herbal tonics to dissolve any adhesive used. Women anxiously wondered if the cat dung, quicklime, they had applied for hair removal earlier in the week had resulted. In any unsightly bald patches, take your time. And then, the delicate unfastening of the corset. A transcendent encounter, often accompanied by sharp intakes of breath, low murmurs, and perhaps the unmistakable sound of ribs returning to their rightful form. Women could finally exhale, releasing the weight they had carried for far too long. Not profoundly, but just enough to exhale with relief and perhaps murmur, "Never again," for the 100th time. The slippers lay abandoned, their former occupants now exposed, showcasing the battered remnants of what were once proud toes. Should fortune smile upon you, your devoted servant would present a basin filled with warm water, infused with the soothing scents of lavender or rosemary, inviting you to indulge in a moment of relaxation. Otherwise, you found yourself gazing down at your feet, pondering whether the warmth of joy would ever grace your heart once more. At last, you found yourself anointed with fragrant oils, or, for those who were especially pious or anxious, a mystical elixir that vowed to safeguard your youthfulness. Disregard the scent of aged copper and the likelihood of powdered beetles lurking within. Beauty comes with its share of suffering, perhaps even a touch of pestilence. And then finally the flame flickered and was extinguished, not with a huff, still too improper, but a gentle breath, as if you were tenderly seeking forgiveness from the flickering flame. You recline, your hairline retreating a couple of inches since last year, your skin taking on a more spectral hue than just yesterday, while your lungs mend from the confines of a corset. Yet with the dawn, you would embark on the journey once more. In Renaissance Florence, beauty transcended mere appearance. It embodied a way of life, an uninterrupted, intense spectacle that demands your complete attention from start to finish. And what of the audience? All individuals, in a time long before Irizumi found its association with crime syndicates and shadowy parlors. Tattoos in Japan wove a rich tapestry of meaning, steeped in honor, mythology, and the sweat of hard work in the distant past, prior to the Edo period. Tattoos in Japan served a grim purpose, marking those who had strayed from the path of virtue. These indelible symbols were seared or carved into the skin of wrongdoers, forever branding them as pariahs in society. Yet, as the 1600s unfolded, these rudimentary symbols transformed into a tapestry of complexity, weaving together elements of artistry, devotion, and a form of spiritual protection. In the era of Edo Japan, the fabric of society was intricately woven with strict hierarchies. The lines of class distinction were sharply drawn. In the hands of the samurai, the sword was not just a weapon, it was an extension of their very spirit. Merchants followed a code. What about the others? They faced limitations? In the era of the Tokugawa shogunate, a tapestry of rules wove through society, dictating the attire and conduct of its people, particularly those in the lower echelons. Exquisite garments, sumptuous textiles, and dazzling adornments were the privilege of the privileged few. Yet the essence of humanity has a way of discovering a hidden path. For the everyday individual, particularly those who toil and labor, brave the flames, or take risks in games of chance, tattoos emerged as a means to seize beauty, elevate status, and assert their identity. If one cannot adorn themselves with brocade on the outside, why not embrace it upon the very canvas of their skin? And so, full-body tattoos thrived in the shadows, concealed beneath ordinary work attire, only to be unveiled in bathhouses, festivals, intimate encounters. These were not mere happenstance creations. Once upon a time, there existed tales, flowing with the grace of mythical beasts, garments adorned with the vibrant imagery of phoenixes, koi fish, cherry blossoms, revered Buddhist deities, and legendary folkloric heroes. Every tattoo held a story. A koi gliding against the current embodies the essence of perseverance. A dragon upon the back signified strength and safeguarding. These motifs were selected with great care and intention. They were gained often through excruciating struggles, with each inch a testament to the harsh journey endured. In a world devoid of machines and antiseptic creams, the essence of life unfolded in its rawest form. In a world where creativity meets tradition, skilled artisans known as harishi wielded wooden handles and steel needles, meticulously hand-poking ink beneath the skin, crafting stories that would last a lifetime. The ink danced with charcoal and natural pigments, each rhythmic strike weaving a tale into the canvas. Hours of sessions unfolded, while full-body suits demanded years of dedication, yet the outcome, a vibrant canvas that transformed skin into a narrative tapestry. In the tapestry of history, one finds that despite the vibrant cultural expressions of the time, tattoos were shrouded in legality's shadow for a significant stretch of the Edo period. Those in power perceived them as manifestations of chaos, rebellion, or extravagance. Thus, craft of irezumi flourished in the dimly lit corners, admired by a few, dreaded by many, and entirely unnoticed by the upper echelons of society. In the vibrant tapestry of Edo period Japan, where wooden structures stood closely together, like a tightly woven fabric, and flickering flames danced in every lantern, the threat of fire loomed ever-present, bringing with it a relentless wave of destruction. Though the samurai held dominion over the realm, it was the brave firemen, the haikushi, who emerged as the true heroes when your neighborhood was engulfed in flames, rescuing you from peril. These were not the firemen we envision. In our minds today, they approached the flames without hoses or the protection of flame-retardant suits. Instead, they wielded hooks, axes, and an unyielding spirit. Their role was not to douse the flames, but to dismantle adjacent buildings and carve out fire breaks, acting swiftly to halt the encroaching inferno. This involved scaling fiery rooftops and taking apart homes piece by piece, all while embers fell like rain from above. In the course of time, these men forged a culture steeped in bravado, resilience, and a deep sense of camaraderie at the heart. Of that culture lay the art of tattooing. Full-body tattoos, irezumi horomono, emerged as a symbol of pride among the haikushi. They were not merely breathtaking exhibitions of power and resilience. They carried profound meaning. Majestic dragons embody the essence of power. Fierce tigers symbolize unwavering courage, while gods and demons stand as guardians of the spirit. As the fireman shed his uniform, a mesmerizing tapestry of swirling ink emerged, not as an act of vanity, but as a shield against the world and the anguish. It was woven into the very essence of the tale. Enduring countless hours as needles danced upon the skin was a journey of transformation. Should you withstand such trials, you would be ready to confront the flames of a raging fire. The tattoos served as more than mere adornments. They stood as testament to courage, loyalty, and the trials faced for the sake of the collective. Some crews wove a tapestry of themes, with all members donning similar motifs that echoed their unity. One could behold entire teams, adorned with matching dragons etched across their backs, or synchronized waves and blossoms gracefully flowing down their arms. This wasn't mere gang behavior. It was a testament to solidarity, a brotherhood born from the trials of smoke and fire, yet it was not within the bounds of the law. In a world where ink on skin was met with disapproval, the authorities cast a wary eye on tattoos, deeming them vulgar or a frivolous indulgence, particularly for those in the service of the public. In the shadows of their garments, the haikushi concealed their ink, a secret unveiled only in the intimacy of bathhouses or during jubilant festivals, where their status as local heroes granted them a fleeting reprieve. In a twist of fate, these very men garnered admiration from their communities, while instilling fear in the hearts of the elite. To some, their tattoos whispered tales of peril, while to others, they sang songs of loyalty. Beyond the fire brigades and labor crews, another group reveled in the bittersweet allure of irezumi, the gamblers, rogues, and thrill-seekers weaving through the shadows of Edo's underground. In the realm of the floating world, there existed the drifters, embodying the essence of fleeting pleasures and the ephemeral nature of life itself. In that ephemeral realm, tattoos spoke of daring, selfhood, and defiance. A multitude of these men were bakudo, skilled gamblers who traversed the land with their dice and cards, possessing an extraordinary knack for parting samurai from their hard-earned stipends. In the beginning, the bakudo roamed without a formal structure, guided instead by their own unwavering codes of loyalty, honor, and resilience. In a world that pushed them to the edges, tattoos emerged as a powerful means to restore dignity, transforming a life once deemed marginal into one rich with significance, each needle prick telling a story of resilience. In the right light, their tattoos told tales of boldness, provocation, a fearless embrace of visibility. Peonies, bold champions, deities of luck, and serpents coiled around their forms. These were not the serene, reflective scribbles of monks, or the noble spirit of firefighters. These were bold affirmations, vivid expressions that proclaimed, "I do not adhere to your constraints. I chart my own course." Numerous designs drew inspiration from renowned figures in Japanese folklore and kabuki theater, featuring legendary heroes such as Sakata Kintoki and Minamoto no Yoshitsune. Alongside mythical rebels who dared to defy authority, the more extravagant the design, the greater the admiration for the ink. It transcended mere surface-level meaning. It was an emblem of identity in a world where names were earned through struggle. And yet, in the shadows of society, these men played a vital role in the clandestine economy. They provided loans, upheld a semblance of order in the vibrant red-light districts, and laid the groundwork for the early formations of what would become the Yakuza. Their tattoos stood as a symbol of allegiance and a foreboding sign, embodying the trust shared among them, while signaling the peril that lurked beyond, in this vibrant realm. Tattooing shops thrived, often unmarked by signs, yet alive with whispers, and hidden connections that guided seekers to their doors. The Hiroshi emerged as esteemed figures, their tales shared in hushed tones within bathhouses and behind the counters of sake establishments. To be marked by a renowned artisan was a privilege to withstand the hours of piercing agony, a testament to resilience. For gamblers and rogues, Iruzumi transcended mere art. It became a badge of honor, etched in suffering, boldly displayed in a world that offered them no refuge. While the art of tattooing in Edo, Japan is frequently depicted as a domain dominated by men laborers, firefighters, and gamblers, women too made their presence felt, occasionally in very tangible ways within this concealed realm of ink. In the shadows of history, where official records often fall silent, the presence of female tattoos whispered tales of quiet strength, tender defiance, and a rebellious spirit. Hidden beneath the delicate layers of silk and societal expectations, often, these tattoos held a deep significance, embodying love, connection, and individuality. In contrast to the grand mythic designs adorning the bodies of men, the tattoos of women tended to be more intimate, subtle, and infused with deep emotion. In a world where passion knows no bounds, lovers would etch each other's names onto secret places of their bodies, nestled within the upper arm, caressing the inner thigh, or resting near the collarbone. A practice called Iruzumi Choban, the art of love tattoos. A well-known phrase etched onto the skin of many women reads, "Inochi azukamasu," which translates to, "I entrust you with my life." It transcended a mere promise. It was a heartfelt proclamation of vulnerability, etched in the depths of sorrow. Men occasionally bore similar inscriptions, reflecting a bond of commitment that transcended the confines of any formal wedding ceremony. In the enchanting realm of the Ukiyo, where the allure of pleasure districts thrived, tattooing became a cherished expression among lovers, a testament to their deep connections amidst the elegance of courtesans and geisha. The realm of esteemed courtesans, tattoos often served as an enchanting means of allure, a subtle, playful mark revealed only when the robe fell just so, wove itself into the fabric of the enigma. It created a sense of closeness, as though a client was glimpsing something that was meant to remain hidden. In truth, the tattoo might have been passed on to countless clients, each one convinced it was their own hidden treasure. In some tales, tattoos became symbols of heartbreak or betrayal. A courtesan may find herself in a moment of anguish, her heart heavy with betrayal, as she chooses to burn or slash the name inked upon her skin, transforming once fervent love into a haunting, a reminder of loss. Some even adorned these names with fresh ink, dragons devouring letters, waves erasing memories. Yet for women beyond the realms of pleasure, tattoos emerged as subtle acts of defiance. Women of the land, those who cast nets into the sea, or the partners of inked men, often took up the brush, moved by the beauty or the bond they shared. In a world where judgment loomed, these women chose to adorn their skin with ink, hidden beneath their robes, a quiet testament to their independence, in a society that outwardly rejected such markings. Particularly on women, these tattoos wove a clandestine tale, rich with themes of love, autonomy, and the willingly embraced suffering that accompanied them. A tale that the official chronicles chose to overlook. In the shadows of every stunning bodysuit, every twisting dragon, and every heart-wrenching hero immortalized on skin, there existed the overlooked craftsmen of Edo, Japan, the harishi, or tattoo masters in the hidden nooks of the city. They toiled in silent, secluded chambers above tea houses, shadowy spaces behind barber shops, or softly lit apartments, infused with the scents of incense and ink. In a world devoid of neon lights and online ratings, the only guide was the whispered tales of those who had walked the path before, their stories etched in the ink that adorned their skin. Embracing the path of a harishi was a choice steeped in significance. Years of dedication were spent honing skills, often guided by the wisdom of a seasoned mentor. The instruments were simple, featuring wooden grips adorned with clusters of steel needles at their ends. Immersed in a rich, dark ink known as sumi, crafted from soot and animal glue. What is the method? Excruciatingly gradual and profoundly agonizing, the needles pierced the skin in a steady, rhythmic dance. Guided by hand and often accompanied by the gentle thud of a bamboo mallet. This intricate process, known as teibori, demanded not only steady hands but also boundless patience, and the unwavering mental fortitude of a monk. Yet harishi were more than mere artisans. They wove tales, chronicled events, and delved into the human mind. A skilled tattoo artist must grasp not just the technique of tattooing, but also the essence of what to create on the skin. Each design whispered its own tale. A cherry blossom drifting away on the tides. A reminder of life's fleeting nature. A tiger scaling a rugged peak, embodying courage against daunting challenges. The client may present a request, yet it is the harishi who will determine the placement, the balance, and the essence of the piece. Clients would come back time and again, often for years, to finish their entire ensemble, a canvas of flesh that flowed from shoulder to thigh, traversing the back, cascading down the arms, and frequently pausing just above the wrist and neckline. This was no mere coincidence. In a world where inked tales lay concealed beneath the fabric of everyday life, the need to keep such stories hidden from the watchful eyes of authority became a necessary art of survival. Some harishi inscribed their creations, not in plain sight, but discreetly nestled within the curves of a dragon's tail, or concealed among the delicate petals of a lotus. These delicate marks transformed into a symbol of honor, discernible solely to the initiated. Though the work held a deep connection, harishi always seemed to stand on the threshold of the world beyond. Their patrons were frequently firemen, gamblers, courtesans, individuals who danced on the fringes of the elite. Thus, the creators thrived. In the shadows, celebrated by the unseen, overlooked by those in power. Irezumi was more than mere adornment. It was an experience you emerged from. Each stroke, each hue, each splash of pigment bore a cost, tallied in moments of unwavering stillness and stretches of weary limbs. In Edo, Japan, the experience of tattooing was embraced, the pain seen as a part of the journey. That was the very essence of it all. Tebori, the age-old hand-poke technique employed by harishi, was intentionally harsh in its execution. With a graceful motion, the artist would immerse the bundle of needles in rich sumi ink. Then, with a steady rhythm, tap them gently against the skin, using a wooden stick or mallet. The journey unfolded at a pace that felt almost agonizingly slow. Crafting a single outline may unfold over the course of hours. Embarking on the journey of a full-body tattoo can unfold over years, with each session stretching into half a day or longer. As the artistry takes shape, there existed neither soothing balms nor compassion. Amidst the rhythmic tapping, a sharp sting accompanies each puncture, weaving a tale of sensation and resilience. The anguish ran deeper than mere physical suffering. It held a deeper meaning. It distinguished the casual observers from the true enthusiasts. It was a challenge that demanded unwavering resolve, steadfast patience, and mastery over the mind. Clients embarked on a journey where they didn't just receive tattoos. They earned them, and the endurance required to endure these sessions transformed into a badge of honor, often recounted with a sense of quiet pride in bathhouses and taverns. The firefighters held the conviction that the pain they endured only served to fortify their bravery. Those who wagered saw it as a challenge of fate and fidelity. Courtesans and lovers embraced their pain, wearing it as a badge of their profound emotional journeys. For some, it felt like a tale of retribution. For some, a journey of cleansing. It held a deeper essence, a realm beyond the ordinary. To endure pain was to embrace a form of self-discipline, akin to the practices of fasting or meditation. The essence of Iruzumi was deeply intertwined with Buddhist themes, not merely for their visual allure, but for the profound reflections they offered on suffering, rebirth, and the journey toward enlightenment. With every session that came to a close, an individual found themselves not merely approaching the completion of a tattoo. They approached the brink of change, and thus there existed a set of rules. There was no room for hesitation. Silence enveloped you, leaving no room for a cry. Excessive movement might lead to disaster or earn you a reprimand from the Harishi. Only the most dedicated clients adorned themselves with the full bodysuit, referred to as munawari, ensuring that a chest panel remained unembellished to prevent any societal shock should the robe happen to part. In a realm where the privileged draped themselves in silk and prestige, the inked bore the weight of suffering and eternity. Each detail of an Edo tattoo wove a narrative. These were not mere designs chosen at random. They were intricate tales woven into the very fabric of the skin. Deliberately selected symbols, each imbued with rich significance, woven in flowing ink that cascaded from shoulder to ankle, in the vibrant world of Edo, Japan. The tattooed transformed their bodies into living tales, each inked design a chapter of their own personal folklore. Consider the koi fish, if you will. It held a deeper significance. A koi gliding against the current embodies resilience, metacity, and the courage to confront seemingly insurmountable challenges. In the annals of folklore, there exists a tale of a koi that, through sheer determination, ascended the heights of a waterfall and transformed into a magnificent dragon. It stood as a vivid illustration of a man striving to ascend from the depths of society, seeking to validate a truth that the world turned a blind eye to. Dragons soared through the skies, their presence felt in every corner of the realm, yet they were not the fearsome, fire-breathing beasts of Western legend. They stood as sentinels, guardians of the spirit realm, embodying strength and wisdom. Intricately woven into the very fabric of nature's forces, a dragon winding gracefully along the spine was not intended to instill fear. It was designed to protect, an ever-present guardian veiled from sight, standing between your skin and the vast world beyond. Peonies embodied courage, adorned with a whisper of grace. The essence of tigers embodies fierce strength and unwavering determination. The waves symbolize the unpredictable nature of life, spirits and shadows, omens, cautionary narratives etched into the skin as reminders of the perils that dwell in both the tangible and ethereal realms. Numerous tattoos illustrated vibrant narratives drawn from the rich tapestry of Chinese and Japanese folklore. Conflicts, treachery, celestial influences. Among the favored tales was the Suikoden, a grand Chinese epic that weaves the adventures of 108 outlaw heroes. The tales struck a chord with those adorned in ink. Outlaws, guardians, and the unconventional souls who danced on the fringes of the samurai ideal, that remained steadfast to their own code. Among the pantheon, the presence of Buddhist deities was notable, especially those embodying fierce powers such as Fudo Mu, the steadfast guardian. With a sword gripped firmly in one hand and a rope in the other, he ensnared demons and sliced through the veil of ignorance. Having him inked on your back felt like bearing a guardian spirit, one who was ready to unleash fury when the moment called for it. Yet, not every meaning resonated across the board. The placement, size, and direction of a tattoo held great significance. A tiger ascending could symbolize a drive for success. Downward may carry a hint of caution. The sequence in which each section was inked tells a tale of your journey. These symbols held a deep reverence, cloaked in secrecy and brimming with strength. In a world where words held the power to deceive, tattoos emerged as the truest form of expression. As the Edo period unfolded, the lively underground culture of Irozumi, which had once served as a clandestine code of honor for laborers, firemen, and gamblers, found itself clashing with the evolving social attitudes and increasing unease from the ruling class. What was once cherished in secretive bathhouses and tea houses gradually became linked to wrongdoing, moral decay, and disgrace. The moment of change arrived as the authorities started to tighten their hold on the actions of the populace. Tattooing, once merely a subject of disapproval, began to acquire a more perilous image, particularly as it became increasingly prominent among the bukuto, or gamblers, and various criminal factions that would ultimately lead to the emergence of the contemporary Yakuza. These individuals were frequently the sole ones daring enough to don full bodysuits in public, and as they grew more united, so too did the prejudice linked to their ink. In a twist of fate, numerous individuals who now walk the path of crime once stood on the fringes of society, adorned with tattoos, not as a means to instill fear, but as a powerful act of reclaiming their identity. However, as crime syndicates started to adopt tattoos as symbols of membership, territory, and loyalty, the way the public viewed them began to change. The police were indifferent to the meanings behind your dragon, representing courage, or your koi fish, embodying perseverance. For them, tattoos had come to represent a singular notion: criminality. In a decisive move, the authorities unleashed a wave of new prohibitions. The art of tattooing found itself under a shroud of prohibition, a law that flickered. In its enforcement, swaying with the whims of the region and the gaze of those tasked with oversight. Yet tattoo parlors delved further into the shadows. In the shadows, Harishi toiled away, crafting a world where clients whispered in code to secure their sessions. Artists, with their creative ingenuity, devised methods to conceal tattoos beneath intricate layers of ink, or seamlessly weave them into grander designs, all to outsmart the watchful eyes of the authorities. The burden was not merely one of law; it permeated the very fabric of society. Those adorned with visible tattoos might find themselves turned away from public bathhouses, excluded from sacred temples, or facing rejection from esteemed families in matters of marriage. Once celebrated as a mark of bravery or spiritual significance, tattooed bodies fell into disrepute. Their artistry now viewed through a lens of vulgarity, danger, and even malevolence. Yet the tattoos did not vanish. They merely sank deeper, both beneath the skin and beyond the watchful eye. With each government crackdown, a fresh design emerged. A novel hiding spot was discovered, and a new client stepped forward, ready to endure hardship for a cause that resonated deeply. Irozumi did not meet its end. Instead, it slipped into the shadows, much like a serpent poised and ready, biding its time. With the dawn of the Meiji Restoration in 1868, Japan embarked on a transformative journey into the modern age. The new government, filled with ambition, sought to showcase the nation as a beacon of civilization, order, and, above all, a testament to Western influence. In this contemporary portrayal of Japan, tattoos found themselves unwelcome. Irozumi, rich in cultural depth and cloaked in underground prestige, was branded a blemish. The government reaffirmed its commitment. Tattooing had transformed from a rebellious act into a source of humiliation, a mark of the uncivilized, a badge of disgrace. Foreign diplomats were taken aback by the intricate bodysuits donned by Edo's laborers. And in a bid to gain respect from the West, Japan buried the art of tattooing further into the shadows than it had ever been, even as it faced prohibition. For the local populace, tattooing intriguingly transformed into a captivating draw for visitors. British and American sailors gathered in Japanese ports eager to find Harishi and acquire unique, exotic pieces of body art to take back home in a twist of fate. The art form that Japan endeavored to suppress was being safeguarded by the very outsiders whose validation they yearned for, yet the legacy endured. Harishi transformed. They transformed their clientele, relocated their studios into the shadows, and preserved the ancient art of tebari. In hushed tones, the legacy of master and apprentice endured through the ages. The methods, meanings, and Instruments were shared with great care, often within families or close-knit artistic communities. In the 20th century, Irezumi found himself woven into the intricate tapestry of the Yakuza. The full bodysuit, concealed beneath layers of business attire, emerged as a potent emblem of allegiance and trepidation in the shadowy realms of the criminal underworld. Once more, tattoo spoke of pain, honor, and secrecy, yet this time devoid of the enchanting tales of Edo firemen or the legendary koi. The creation remained, yet the audience had drifted away. Even today, the echoes of that stigma persist. In a world where tattoo culture has captured the hearts of many, Japan remains a land where inked skin is often met with wary eyes. In a world where public baths, gyms, and certain beaches draw lines in the sand, tattooed individuals find themselves on the outside looking in. The shadow of criminal association lingers, even when the ink holds no malice. Yet the winds of change are upon us. Emerging Japanese artists are embracing Irezumi, not as an act of defiance, but as a celebration of their cultural legacy. In the quiet halls of museums, echoes of ancient designs are lovingly preserved, each piece telling a tale of its own. Art enthusiasts and historians are beginning to recognize the skill and artistry involved, and a new generation is inquiring, why should we feel any shame about the skin we inhabit, in a realm woven with intricate layers of garments of significance? Of unspoken truth, Irezumi stands as the truest reflection of what Japan has long sought to conceal. In the heart of Renaissance Europe, the topic of sex lingered in the shadows, a forbidden fruit. Only in the hushed tones of thick Latin manuscripts, cloaked in layers of religious guilt and sanctioned by the watchful eyes of the Church, could one dare to explore such intimate matters. Behold the marriage manual, an intriguing realm of literature, where theologians, monks, and celibate scholars meticulously outlined the ways in which devout Christians were meant to engage in the sacred act, all in the name of procreation. Of course, these manuals were more about 46 permissible positions for the glory of God than anything resembling 50 Shades. Titles such as De Matrimonio or The Book of the Family concealed their true nature. Intricately woven narratives exploring the when, how, and why of intimacy for married couples, enriched with illustrations, timelines, and a catalog of days to avoid. But let me tell you, there were many days shrouded in secrecy and longing. Intimacy on Sundays? Transgressive? Days of celebration? Not in the slightest. In the season of reflection and sacrifice. Heaven help us. Indeed, there existed approximately 180 days each year when the bonds of marital intimacy were not permitted. When you weave together the dread of eternal damnation with the watchful eyes of local priests, one can't help but marvel at how Renaissance Europe found a way to continue its lineage. These guides shared insights on cultivating the right mindset. During intimate moments, joy felt a twinge of doubt. Embracing passion was a daring endeavor. Love had its merits, provided it didn't stir too much excitement within you. In a world where women were gently nudged to embrace silence and submission, men were cautioned to temper their passions lest they ignite a flame too fierce. In essence, the aim was a profound spiritual connection, accompanied by just the right amount of physical intimacy to bring forth new life. And little beyond that, yet even with their arid prose, these volumes captured the hearts of many, particularly those in the clergy. Some manuals even included sections detailing which sexual positions were deemed natural and which were considered unnatural. The calling of the missionary was truly celestial. Anything else was essentially dancing on the edge of banishment. Certainly the learned readers of the Renaissance possessed the skill to discern the deeper meanings hidden within the text. These books stood out as some of the rare texts that dared to acknowledge the subject of sex, leading people to eagerly consume them, not always for virtuous motives. A marriage manual resting on your shelf was perfectly fine. Your focus was on your enterprise. In a twist of fate, the rigid moral codes championed by these books only fueled a deeper curiosity about the mysteries that existed beyond their pages thus. Alongside the marriage guides, a different type of book started to make its rounds, less sacred and more adorned with images. At first glance, they appeared as wonders of science, intricate studies of anatomy, frequently adorned by esteemed artists and supported by learned scholars from universities. Yet for those with a spark of creativity and a hidden stash, these tomes held an alluring charm, particularly when the feminine figure graced the pages. During the Renaissance, a remarkable surge of fascination with human anatomy emerged, fueled by the legalization of dissection in various areas and the groundbreaking work of artists such as Leonardo da Vinci, who ventured into the depths of scientific observation. Works such as De Humani Corporis Fabrica by Andreas Vesalius emerged as revolutionary texts in the realm of medicine. There was an undeniable heat to their interactions, whether by design or happenstance. What prompts this question? For they unveiled women in their entirety with a precision that was both striking and meticulous. Every curve, every contour, every intimate detail was laid bare.
Damn.
And though the stated aim was to enlighten, it's safe to say that not every reader was captivated. By the intricacies of the lymphatic system, these images were frequently unveiled with a touch of creative elegance. In a strikingly notorious edition of an anatomical tome, a nude woman reclined with an elegance reminiscent of a Botticelli masterpiece. Yet her chest cavity was laid bare, reminiscent of the stark illustrations found in a butcher's guide. Was a blend of terror and an unexpected allure. The body transforms into a canvas, a realm of discovery, and for many, a source of amusement. In a time when the church imposed strict bans on pornography, these illustrations found a way to navigate the moral landscape, cloaked in the pretense of medical necessity. A young man discovered with a provocative woodcut from a medical tome might merely shrug and assert that he was engaged in his scholarly pursuits. The page, with its dog-eared corners and mysteriously worn edges, held no significance. Some printers embraced the charm of both worlds. Some editions were crafted with a keen focus on the female form, showcasing idealized nudes that harmoniously intertwined anatomy with a touch of sensuality, a curious twist of fate from a bygone era. To catch a glimpse of the unclothed, one merely needed to feign interest in the intricacies of the spleen. These were not mere underground publications. These works found their way into the hands of esteemed publishers, nestled within the hallowed halls of university libraries, and echoed in the references of physicians. Yet amidst the arid Latin and anatomical illustrations, there lingered just enough alluring intrigue to entice readers to turn the pages with a touch more eagerness than one might expect. Indeed, not every book deemed forbidden was masquerading as a work of science. Some openly displayed it without a hint of reservation. As the mid-Renaissance unfolded, a novel type of tome started to grace the shelves of private collections. Those who shunned the intricacies of anatomical dissection and the tangled webs of theological loopholes. These were comprehensive guides to love, a blend of refined manners and gentle allure. They were crafted for the refined nobleman or lady seeking to engage in playful flirtation while carefully avoiding the fiery depths of temptation. In contrast to the rigid, doctrine-driven marriage guides endorsed by the church, love manuals embraced the beauty of uncertainty. They navigated a delicate path, sharing insights on the art of courtship, the elegance of letter writing, and the charm of romantic expression, all while cloaked in the guise of fostering sophisticated manners. Yet, woven within the narrative, subtle hints lingered like shadows. These volumes revealed the nuances of a fleeting look, the delicate craft of a sigh directed towards another, and the significance of where one places their hands in the graceful rhythm of a slow court dance. They presented snippets of conversation, cleverly veiled flirtations, tailored for moments such as meeting a duchess amidst blooming flowers, or praising a lady's lute skills while deftly navigating the sensitivities of her chaperone. In a realm of imagination, one enchanting genre flourished, the epistolary romance. These were exquisite collections of love letters exchanged between noble figures, often bearing names as grand as Count Lorenzo and Lady Fiorella. These were intended to exemplify noble conduct. Yet numerous letters drifted intriguingly toward the realm of imagination. The sound of bodices tightening filled the air, while gloves were gradually removed, hinting at the unfolding drama. Among these manuals, one could find delightful miniature poems and riddles, crafted to evoke a sense of culture while remaining tantalizingly ambiguous, inviting interpretations that danced on the edge of scandal. In the Age of Rebirth, the discerning reader reveled in the art of double entendres, as love manuals wove their enchanting tales through graceful, rhyming couplets. And let us not overlook the wisdom shared on grooming. One guide advised that men should maintain clean fingernails and bright teeth, ensuring that when a kiss is shared, a woman feels neither discomfort nor displeasure. Some advised women to keep their breath fresh and steer clear of onions before engaging in a romantic dialogue, practical advice, yet lacking a touch of the ethereal. Though these books refrained from showcasing physical intimacy, they wove a subtle tapestry of suggestion throughout their pages. And that was the essence of it all. They were more about the simmering tension, the kind that unfolded gradually, in candlelit ballrooms, behind delicate fans, and through sheer veils. For the youthful aristocrats ensnared by the confines of arranged unions and rigid religious doctrines, these tomes served as clandestine passages permissible to possess, yet perilous to comprehend. As the church tightened its grip on sin and scholars engaged in fervent debates over virtue, a clandestine group of Renaissance readers found solace in the forbidden verses of ancient Roman poetry. It's the kind that would have raised Cicero's eyebrows. In disapproval, tucked away under their pillows like secret treasures, Ovid's Ars Amatoria. The art of love emerged as one of the most sought-after and controversial texts during the Renaissance, captivating readers with its allure and intrigue. In the realm of Roman literature, this piece stands out as a captivating guide to the art of seduction, detailing the journey from identifying a potential lover in the theater to mastering the delicate balance of feigned jealousy to maintain an enticing allure. It was clever, refined, and utterly scandalous by the standards of the church. Of course, it captured the hearts of many. Learned individuals, along with a few resolute women, concealed copies of Ovid behind Bibles or within unmarked bindings to remain undetected. In the margins of certain surviving copies, one can find playful notes such as, "Try this at Carnival," and "Worked on Cecilia," challenging the notion that Latin must be dull. In the realm of literature, one might encounter The Golden Ass by Apulus, a tale that often goes unnoticed due to its enchanting mythological narrative. Yet, within its pages lie striking scenes of metamorphosis, desire, and the whimsical presence of a talking donkey, all woven together in a tapestry of storytelling that captivates the imagination. It was, in essence, a tale rich with spiritual symbolism. It was a tale wrapped in allure, draped in the elegance of a toga. Even more audacious were the translations of Greek and Arabic love poetry, with many highlighting sensual pleasure as a journey toward enlightenment. In the vibrant tapestry of Renaissance Italy, a fascination with the exotic flourished as Arabic texts, particularly those influenced by the perfume garden, found their way into the hands of select elite circles. These treasures weren't displayed for all to see, but with the right allies and a handful of gold, a coveted copy could discreetly grace your study. The booksellers were masters of the craft in the grand tapestry of their establishments. One could find an array of theology and grammar, carefully curated to inspire the minds of those who wandered through their doors. With a knowing glance and a subtle exchange of coin, one might find themselves granted entry to a cabinet shrouded in mystery, marked with the intriguing titles of medical curiosities or private readings. The church deemed it sinful. The traders deemed it a wise venture. In a time of grandeur, some nobles took it upon themselves to commission illuminated manuscripts of these remarkable works, adorned with shimmering gold leaf, playful cherubs, and, on occasion, intricate illustrations of scenes that perhaps were best left unseen by such innocent eyes. These books were not merely read, they were lived, shared in salons, murmured at masquerades, condemned by bishops, echoed by poets, and while many feigned that their interest lay solely in Latin practice, the reality was unmistakable. Amidst the hushed whispers and clandestine laughter veiled by delicate lace, the Renaissance stood as a time not of unbridled literary expression. but rather one shadowed by the ever-watchful gaze of the Inquisition. And in Italy, it forever remained so. As the mid-1500s approached, the Catholic Church found itself wrapped in a shroud of suspicion towards books that might taint the soul, which in their eyes encompassed anything that offered even a hint of entertainment. In the year 1559, a significant moment unfolded as Pope Paul IV proclaimed the inaugural Index Librorum Prohibitorum, marking the beginning of the Index of Forbidden Books. It was precisely what it appeared to be: a catalogue of writings considered perilous, blasphemous, or, heaven help us, enticing. Amidst the diverse collection, one could find a rich tapestry woven with threads of Protestant theology and astrology manuals. Yet hidden within were profound explorations of love, the intricacies of anatomy, and the beauty of poetry. Ah, Ovid. Forbidden? Boccaccio's Decameron, you say? Forbidden? Is there anything by Erasmus that suggested the notion of personal reflection? Twice forbidden. The Church was not merely focused on the salvation of souls. It was purifying the very essence of intellectual thought itself. Owning a forbidden book was no mere triviality. It carried weighty consequences. Should you find yourself as a printer, merchant, or noble in possession of such a thing, you would face the looming threat of public penance, invasive house searches, confiscation of your belongings, and the grim possibility of imprisonment. More than one learned individual found himself called upon to elucidate the presence of a Latin edition of a Latin edition of The Art of Love nestled between the esteemed works of Aristotle and Aquinas. Yet there's a curious twist to the tale of book bans. They often ignite a spark of intrigue, making those very books all the more sought after. In the shadows, vibrant markets flourished. In the vibrant cities of Venice, Lyon, and Basel, printers crafted pristine editions for the public's eager hands, alongside uncut versions tailored for the discerning tastes of private clients. Distinction could lie in an absent chapter, a subdued image, or an entirely fabricated title page. One notorious edition of the Golden Ass was transformed into a volume of sermons of St. Augustine. Let's delve into an unexpected turn of events. In the shadows of noble families, where whispers of secrecy lingered, private libraries became sanctuaries for forbidden texts, meticulously concealed within intricate systems designed to protect their hidden treasures. Hidden nooks, deceptive. Covers, reflective cupboards. It was a blend of intrigue and passion, thoughtfully arranged bookshelf proclaimed. Indeed, I hold reverence for the divine, yet I also delve into the works of Rabelais. Women wove their wisdom into the fabric of this tale. In a world where they faced fewer dangers as intellectual adversaries, they took on the role of literary messengers, skillfully borrowing, copying, and sharing books while cloaked in the guise of pious reading. In the heart of Naples, a certain nun is said to have hidden a copy of the perfumed garden behind her edition of Lives of the Saints. While censorship may have held sway in the public eye behind closed doors, Renaissance readers simply navigated their pages with a more discerning touch. Within the confines of convent walls, shielded from the critical gaze of the outside world and the ever-present list of prohibited texts, Renaissance nuns discovered their own sanctuaries of knowledge, where some volumes were far from sacred. Though convents were frequently perceived as strongholds of purity and piety, the reality was far more intricate. These were realms of knowledge, where the thirst for understanding mingled with unspoken longings. In times past, numerous young women found themselves stepping into the sacred realm of religious life, not through their own desires, but rather through the designs of their families. Is the cost of marriage too high to bear? Did you send her to the nuns, perhaps a bit too candid, and close her within the walls of solitude? The outcome? A cohort of women, well-versed in knowledge, bound by circumstances to a life of solitude, and grappling with an overwhelming sense of ennui, step into the sacred space of the convent library. At first glance, these collections appeared to embody a sense of reverence and dignity. Chronicles of the Saints, reflections on theology, verses of devotion. Yet, if you were to delve further, you would uncover marginalia penned in the margins, whole sections highlighted with an almost fervent zeal, and in certain instances, clandestine reproductions of forbidden love poetry carefully hidden between the pages of prayer books. In the enchanting city of Ferrara, a certain nun found herself at the center of a captivating tale, having been famously chastised for her bold endeavor to translate Ovid's Amoras into the vernacular, purportedly in the name of education. Others crafted their own lines, intricate, wistful, and frequently infused with a deep sense of yearning. Today, it is believed that some of the most fervent sonnets from the Renaissance credited to nameless noblewomen may have actually been crafted by secluded women who used writing as a means of romantic liberation. It transcended mere poetry. In certain convents, one could find copies of anatomical treatises. Seemingly for the purpose of acquiring medical knowledge, nuns frequently took on the role of caregivers. Yet, as we've observed, anatomy books often transcended mere medical discourse. In Florence, an abbess made a compelling case to retain her convent's illustrated anatomy manual, arguing that it aids the younger sisters in grasping the concept of temptation a truly imaginative perspective. Indeed, the Church sought to control the narratives consumed within those confines, yet the power of literacy fostered independence, and that independence sparked rebellion. Whispers of forbidden texts passed discreetly among those deemed worthy. Words were etched into memory, transcribed, and shared with secretive markers. The aroma of ink and vellum wove a spell, enchanting some more than the finest incense ever could. As the evening hush settles in, following the rituals of vespers and confession, a young nun may find solace in lighting a candle and turning the pages of a cherished book, one that offers a touch of warmth rather than scripture. Poem, a tale, a captured glimpse of a realm she could never reach, yet her mind could wander through it freely. For in certain moments the most taboo tales were not woven from desire. They spoke of liberation. Not every forbidden tome found its home in libraries or was bound with chains upon the shelves of monasteries. Some were tucked away in aprons, concealed beneath floorboards, or softly shared from memory in the shadowy corners of back-alley markets. These were not crafted by esteemed publishers or discussed in elegant gatherings. These were the other texts of the Renaissance, the enchanting ones. In the quiet corners of history, handwritten grimoires, herb manuals, and charm books traveled from hand to hand among midwives, herbalists, and women who, while they might not have claimed the title, were undeniably seen as witches by the world around them. Love held a formidable strength, and when that strength was wielded by a woman, it became a force to be reckoned with. Thus, love spells emerged as both a source of great fear and a coveted treasure within the realm of forbidden knowledge. In the enchanting pages of Renaissance charm books, one could find guidance on winning hearts, igniting passion, or reviving the warmth of a distant union. A single strand of hair, chalice of wine, a tale woven from the threads of folk wisdom. And it seemed to have worked, or at least that was the impression it left. In the heart of southern Italy, a renowned spellbook held within its pages captivating ritual designed to secure unwavering fidelity. Gently cast a sprinkle of dried basil into your beloved's attire, softly utter their name thrice, and grace their pillow with a touch of rosewater. Should they have dreamt of you under the stars that night, the enchantment would have woven its spell. Should they choose not to comply, there are more forceful actions that could be taken. In the shadows of these clandestine writings, aphrodisiacs emerged as a recurring theme. In a harmonious fusion, culinary creations intertwined the rich knowledge of Renaissance botany with the vivid flights of medieval imagination. In a world where flavors dance and secrets linger, one might encounter the enchanting blend of cinnamon, the warmth of anise, the unexpected touch of ground oysters, and the mystical allure of mandrake root. At times it brings forth great results, while at other moments it can be quite harmful. In a delightful apothecary's manual, a charming concoction of honey, wine, and powdered stag antler was suggested to ignite the passions of Venus. He conveniently left out the part about the violent nosebleeds, while men held a sense of curiosity. It was the women who truly embraced these texts, becoming their primary readers and guardians. In countless homes, cherished recipes and sacred rituals flowed from mother to daughter, particularly in the quiet corners of rural life, where priests were rare visitors and midwives embraced the profound journey from birth to heartbreak. Yet, possessing such a tome was a risk, in a time when wisdom in a woman's heart was met with suspicion. A simple love spell could easily lead to the gallows of a witch trial. Thus the pages were concealed, set ablaze, or cleverly masqueraded as journals of herbal lore. One might find themselves a herbalist on a Tuesday, only to be deemed a heretic by Thursday, all based on the whims of perception and imagination. As the late Renaissance unfolded, the advent of the printing press transformed the landscape entirely. Books had transformed from rare, meticulously crafted gems reserved for the privileged few. They existed as mere items of trade, though Gutenberg began his journey with Bibles. It didn't take long for printers to uncover a far more profitable realm: human desire. Venice emerged as the heart of this subtle transformation. It possessed an exquisite blend of affluence, relaxed oversight, and a robust craving for indulgence. Veiled beneath the layers of religious tracts and academic discussions, a collection of small, privately circulated volumes emerged, volumes that boldly revealed their true nature. They were not masquerading as anatomy manuals. They revealed poetry in its purest form, unmasked by the guise of devotion. These were vivid, illustrated, and poised to astonish. Among the most notorious of these was I Modi, known as the Positions. Crafted by the skilled hands of engraver Marcantonio Raimondi and brought to life through the artistry of Julio Romano, it unveiled a series of 16 scenes that explored the depths of intimate connection. Every engraving danced alongside the poetic verses of Pietro Aretino, a man whose keen wit and even keener tongue carved out his legacy as the Renaissance's first provocateur. It goes without saying, the Church found little joy in the matter. I Modi faced an immediate ban. Plates were taken away. All copies have been obliterated. Raimondi found himself in handcuffs. Yet whether viewed as destruction or a leap forward, the deed was already accomplished. The notion of harnessing the printing press for the realm of erotica had been set free, and there was no turning back now. In the shadows of Europe, clandestine presses emerged, crafting slender tomes filled with verses of love, tantalizing narratives, and occasionally, unabashedly risked content. These were crafted with care, not churned out in bulk. Copies were a luxury, crafted for those affluent souls who craved the allure of the taboo. Some were even crafted specifically for individuals, us, with narratives designed to fulfill the buyer's imagination. Imagine it as a personalized tale set. In the vibrant world of the Renaissance, ingenious methods emerged among printers to elude scrutiny: deceptive title pages, fabricated publishing locales, prints from Constantinople, or Latin phrases that cloaked the volumes in the guise of innocuous philosophy. In truth, they were frequently adorned with woodcuts or copper engravings that rendered anatomy textbooks quite ordinary in comparison. For the right price, one could possess a tome that captivated, entertained, or astonished, all while keeping its existence a delightful secret. Numerous nobles safeguarded theirs within cabinets, each secured by unique keys. Some bore bindings that, when placed upon the shelves, resembled dictionaries or psalters, each one a silent keeper of tales waiting to be unveiled. The printing press transformed the landscape of knowledge, turning desire into something that could be carried and shared far and wide. With each new title, Renaissance readers edged closer to a groundbreaking revelation: enjoyment unbound by consent. As the Renaissance drew to a close, the distinctions between learning, amusement, and allure had intertwined in ways that were nearly indistinguishable. What started as a quest for understanding, whether through the lens of anatomy or faith, evolved into a hidden collection of desires, one that transcended gender, class, and the divides of belief. And that, dear listener, is exactly what rendered it so perilous. To the Church, these books symbolized a decline in virtue. To the learned, they were captivating explorations of the mind. Yet for those who turned the page as noble women, students, nuns, and even merchants, these tales represented something profoundly different. Not the kind achieved through clashing swords or legal battles, but the subtle, transformative kind that begins in the whispers of a book's margins. In a time when the autonomy of women was stifled, their expressions muted, and their yearnings looked down upon, these narratives provided a different narrative, a realm where love was not preordained, where joy could be openly acknowledged, and where the thirst for knowledge could be embraced without reservation. In the shadows of whispered secrets, a love spell nestled within the pages of a herb manual, a censored sonnet meticulously transcribed by hand, and a forbidden poem recited under the flickering glow of candlelight emerged as acts of defiance. Cloaked in elegance, let us not overlook the gentlemen. Despite the outward show of confidence and the weight of religious shame, they were secretly purchasing these books as well. Those who engaged in spirited discussions about virtue under the sun would retreat to their abodes in the evening, savoring a glass of wine while immersing themselves in the pages of The Golden Ass. Clerics who denounced desire from their sacred platforms often concealed a volume of Ovid beneath their robes. Human nature, it seems, has always had a knack for neatly organizing its complexities. The forbidden bookshelf was more than a mere curiosity of the Renaissance. It was a vivid portrayal of a world grappling with transformation. The printing press had unleashed a torrent of possibilities. The flame of literacy was igniting across the land. The flow of ideas was becoming increasingly unruly, and when individuals discovered that books had the power to evoke profound emotions, intimately, even with a hint of forbidden allure, there was no turning back. Many of these tales have not endured in their original form. They faced flames, were concealed and misplaced in the records, yet there were those who did. In the quiet corners of museum vaults and rare book rooms, they rest delicate and marked by time, resonating with the soft murmurs of secrets shared through the ages. For the Renaissance was more than merely a revival of art and science. A new flame of longing ignited. Midst the sermons and sculptures, the forbidden books whisper secrets that the marble remains silent about.